did it on the third press.
Raspberry Pi. I mean, he's 3.14, right?
Yep. Pi 3.14. How many more digits of pi do you know?
Wow.
I know the next
out.
3.
I think it's like 3.1415.
I know it's
Is it nine? Is it nine after
3.14.
that?
It's
I think.
159.
159.
I don't know what's after that.
It might be a 7.
This is really good content.
How
Hey,
many-
everybody, welcome back
How
to the
many
forecast.
digits is pi?
Infinite.
3
Is it?
hours. Let's just see how many pi numbers we can get.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
honestly, the nice thing is if you know the most of your group of friends, you can just keep going. You know what I mean?
It's
Yeah,
true.
who's going to call you out?
Exactly. No one knows it.
True.
Hey, just get to like 12 numbers deep and then you just keep making it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's perfect. The perfect rhyme.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the forecast, a bi-weekly podcast about everything games, film, and news. I'm Aaron Juno.
I'm Alex McCausland.
I'm Ben Diaz.
I'm Caleb Juno.
I'm Tad McCausland.
And I'm Jake Fetterkyle.
On today's episode number 208 or 209, I'm not really sure because the last episode was so strange that I didn't even know what to do with it.
What do you
Yep.
mean?
I haven't done anything with that episode. I have it downloaded, but I haven't done anything with it.
Did you download it? I forgot about it. And then when I remembered it, I was like, do we even want to put that up? I don't think so. I don't know.
I
Oh,
put it in
was it-
Premiere and I was like, there is absolutely nothing I can do with this. I
Was
mean,
it the
nothing.
Game Awards?
Yes.
Yeah, the Game
Yeah,
Awards one.
okay. Yeah. That was going to be dog shit.
For half a second, I thought about using After Effects to mask out your player cameras and then just putting the entire stream of the Game Awards behind. But man, that would take some effort.
Yeah, I don't know how far you looked in. I changed the layout several times throughout the stream.
Oh, I noticed. It's very
He
jarring.
loved that.
Yeah. Very, very jarring. Anyways, on
I
today's
have
episode,
the audio somewhere.
I have the audio. The audio
My
is there.
camera.
That's not the issue.
Hmm.
The issue is that at
Sucks.
some point you just get audio for what you're watching. So it's not
Oh,
like I
yeah.
can even like put it in the background because I'd have to like mesh it up somehow, and I
Well,
don't.
Yeah. We could rip, I mean, we could rip the whole audio from the Game Awards, and then I have the pure audio just from Mumble.
Here's the good news, guys. I don't think it would be a good podcast episode anyway.
Probably
Yeah.
not at this point.
We were,
think it would
we
be
were
really
just
bad.
really not feeling like actually podcasting when we wanted to watch the Game Awards.
It was.
So
It
Yeah.
would have been fun. It was a fun stream, but I think as a podcast, it doesn't work.
True.
So whatever.
Yeah.
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 Anyways, on today's episode, officially number 208, because that last one does not exist, it's just in the ether. There's a whole bunch of new updates from news stuff where I have nothing in my notes here, so I'm just gonna fly by the seat of my pants. A lot of rumors, a lot of delays for video games, which is very exciting for everyone. Studios shutting down, love it. Plus, also, we're gonna be battling out how we're gonna do Game of the Year, which is gonna be in 2 weeks. Ben beat Elden Ring. And of course, we've been playing games. If you'd like to know more about what we do, you can follow us on our social channels. You can check out our website, RealHorizon.com, where we have a ton of original content for you to browse through, including our new Pathfinder 2e campaign that we may finish in 2034, Crown and Conquest. Additionally, everything we talk about is in our cast notes, which are pushed out to whatever podcasting app you are using. All right, let's get into it. Chad, do you have CCCP action? Is there
So
a...
CCCP is going to be
listener?
like a Marvel Rivals tie-in, so we'll just kick that to the end.
Oh, we're gonna kick the CCCP
Did
to
anybody
the
play
end.
that?
Got it. What, Ben?
Rivals?
Did anybody play Marvel Rivals? I don't know.
What's that? Never heard of it.
Never
Yeah.
heard of it.
Yeah.
I've definitely not played
Definitely
over 100 hours.
not.
Oh
Anyway,
my gosh.
let's jump to some news-related things. First and foremost, I never want to see this three-letter acronym again, but here it is. NFTs. Why?
Yes.
Ubisoft NFT game. Jake, I hate everything about this.
So this news is a little dated now. It's a few months old, but it was so fun. I haven't been on the podcast in so long. I was dying to talk about it. Let me get the name of this. So they released an NFT game. It is called Champions Tactics: Grimoire Chronicles. Sorry,
love
no,
the name.
Grimoria Chronicles.
Oh, even
I thought
better.
it was a real word. It's not. So they launched this game. Nobody really cared about it. They didn't like advertise or anything. But it has like a fun story with it because it goes live and the forums light up with people complaining that this guy, they keep getting matched against this guy and he wins the game immediately. Like, they don't even get to play. He just wins right away.
Okay.
And as more people are complaining, they realize that it's all the same guy. This guy with the handle Paulstar111. So Ubisoft, it's the weekend, and they're like, well, we can't get into our offices, so you're going to have to wait until Monday. But literally nobody could play any games. So eventually they got in, and they banned him. Then, as soon as they banned that guy, some different guy started doing the exact same thing. So they banned him, they finally get into the office, and it turns out, it's not that they were hacking, it's that the game was so broken that it was just causing these players to automatically win any game they connected to.
Oh!
And so they banned these guys because the game was just that broken.
So they're getting falsely banned.
Yes, absolutely hysterical.
Excellent.
Love it. Why, Ubisoft? Why?
Yeah, man. Ubisoft really can't catch a break. I know the viewers can't see the notes, but I have like 4 Ubisoft news updates in a row.
I think
It's
it's really funny that this game released because they must have started developing it when
Ages
everybody was
ago.
talking about NFT stuff, and then they just decided, after everybody decided that was a bad idea, they were like, we already put a bunch of work into
just
it. Why
do
not?
it anyways.
Why
Yeah.
not just finish?
I mean, I'm sure that's what it was. It was just like, well, it's like done. Maybe we can get some money for it. I don't know. But yeah, they
If you
actually
would've
released
told
Are
it.
the
me-
servers still up for it?
I have no idea. I mean, this was maybe like from November, I think. I'll look it up while we're talking.
At any point last year, if you would have told me the first podcast in 2025, the very first thing we would talk about was an NFT game, I would have put money down that there's no
Surprising.
possible way that's what we would be talking about. Man, NFTs, gotta love them,
Thought
guys.
they were all gone.
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
Now, do any of you guys own an NFT?
I got like 15 Bored Apes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
It looks
Crypto,
like-
but no NFTs.
It looks like Champion Tactics Grimoria Chronicles is still up, as far as
Amazing.
I can tell. They're starting. Oh, season 2 just started. So that's
Now-
great.
Jake, I know you know so much about this game because, of course, you've been playing it, I'm sure. What can you tell me what the NFT aspect is? Oh, he's gone. He's just
What?
Oh.
He didn't want to talk about that.
yeah, bring
He's
up
out.
something
He was
NFTs.
done.
He's just uninterested. God, what a jerk! Can't believe he would do this to me.
Actually, his webcam footage was an NFT and it got sold.
Oh, right then, and then he can't come back.
I'm
Ben-
back.
Ben, I do like to note for everybody who's just listening, your camera is
I
just
know,
a
it's
square
terrible. It's awful.
inside.
I'm literally
no.
looking up if there's any way I can make this better in my other monitor right now.
Yeah, you can paint your wall the same color of gray that we've chosen for the background. Problem
that's a good
solved.
point.
It's so close.
I don't know why it did this. Also, I'm trying to figure out, does it look lower quality than normal?
I think it's just you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think that's
I'm
just what
just
you
low
look like.
quality.
Yeah,
Got
you're
it.
just
yeah,
low
yeah,
quality.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Well, I'm gonna keep
All right.
looking for webcam software on my other monitor.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
Jake-
I don't know what happened. My
It's
internet
okay.
just shut down for a second. Very strange.
It's fine. What I was asking is, I know you know a lot about this game. You're big into it. You're really excited about season 2.
Playing it every day.
Can you tell us what the NFT aspect of this game actually is?
So it's like a turn-based game, and you are buying like little figurines, and the little figurines are like your guys, and they fight, and you have to buy the guys are like NFTs.
I hate this game even more. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, pretty upsetting.
Gosh. More Ubisoft news. Acquisition rumors? What?
Yeah, so Ubisoft, word on the street. Again, this is also kind of old. A lot of these are old. I haven't been on the podcast in a hot minute. But word on the street is that Ubisoft is looking to get acquired. I think Tencent was the big rumored one. But what I had heard is that the head of Ubisoft, Yves Jumeau, whatever,
Perfect.
basically wanted to sell the company but still like be in charge of it. And so nobody really wanted to do that because I feel like that's not how that works usually.
It's a pretty hard sell, I think.
Yeah. It's like, hey, okay, listen, I have ruined this company so bad that now I need to sell it, but I do still want to be in charge of it, even after you pay a bunch of money for it, so I can keep ruining it.
I mean, you got to imagine that the primary selling point for is just their IP. Period.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
got to be it.
Like they have done their damnedest to ruin Assassin's Creed, but it's still a big ass name. Like people will probably still buy a new Assassin's Creed game just because it's called that.
Yeah.
And if a company that knew how to make video games made one, it would probably sell really, really good. You know what I mean?
Wow. Tencent. Of course,
Yeah.
Tencent's involved.
I mean,
course.
obviously.
Yeah.
It's all just rumor right now. I don't think anything has really, like, happened with it.
Sure.
But I would not be surprised if in a few months we hear more about it. Which actually, that kind of brings me to my next point. They just announced, I think this was actually today, that Assassin's Creed Shadows is delayed again.
Oh, I was so confused. I thought this was a completely different game. I'm reading this verbatim.
Man.
Ass Creed Shadows delayed.
Yeah.
So I thought
Hmm.
different game.
I feel like this is so on par for them. Like Skull and Bones took
Right.
how long?
Yeah, right. Like, man, they must be shitting themselves now that Ghost of Tsushima 2 is coming out next year. Like,
Oh,
that's
Man,
tough.
I watched a documentary actually the other day on Skull and Bones, and
Oh, really?
the process of them making that game was absolutely wild. Like,
Oh, yeah?
just like when it was announced, I didn't realize it was announced so long ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think it was like, I could be wrong on this, but like 2015, 2016 time that they like announced it, and then it just like Sea of Thieves came out like after, and like
Mm-hmm.
they, you know, when like they were like, oh man, we're having like Black Flag's like success, like everybody loves this, and then they didn't know if they wanted it to be fully just ship, or if they wanted it to be like you could actually explore like with a character. And then they chose to do like ship first, and then they implemented character later, and then they tried to mesh the two, and I was just like, it was wild stuff.
Just to clarify a few notes here, they announced it at an E3. Yes, E3. That should already date how long ago
That's
this game was
ancient.
announced.
Yeah.
They announced it at E3 2017, and at that point, it had been in development for 4 years.
Okay, yeah. I knew the development was early, and the announcement was still early, but yeah, holy crap.
That's crazy.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So, to jump back to Ass Creed, is there a reason, like, have they said anything about the delay? Why are they pushing it back? Is it more...
Let me see. This literally happened today.
Oh, so this is actually like new news.
This is
that you're
actually,
bringing up.
this is late breaking.
That's cool.
Let's see what they said. Oh, they released a PNG. Yeah,
A
they post
PNG.
the, or
They
a
posted
JPEG,
a PNG
perhaps.
or a
Yeah.
JPEG. Yeah, very
I mean,
scalable.
You know how they do this. They release a shitty. Usually, it's after you release a shitty game, you put out the JPEG and you say, "Sorry, we fucked
Yeah.
up our game." This is
Yeah.
sorry, we're delaying the game again.
Got it. Love it.
To further refine and polish it.
Mm,
That's all it says. I think, man. I mean, I think this game is make or break for Ubisoft.
gotta
Like,
be right.
I think this is they're like, we have one more shot to release something successful.
Man,
We'll see.
I almost think they're at that break regardless.
I think they
I
might
think
be.
it's too late, honestly.
Yeah.
But after Star Wars Outlaws didn't do well for them, like they can't even make money on a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Well,
You know that they shut down X Defiant, right?
yep, that's also in my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
that was.
I mean,
their,
the
like,
thing is, they have things they have IPs
know.
that they could capitalize on. First
Yeah,
of all,
there
they have
was
Far
one really
Cry,
good one
which
actually.
for some
Far Cry.
reason always sells really well.
yeah, I mean, Far Cry's good.
Yeah, all the Tom Clancy games, Rabbids, Rayman, Watch Dogs, Prince of Persia, which, oh man, glad they shut that down.
Yeah, thank goodness.
What a shame.
I don't know. It really is a shame because like some other company's going to get that for like a steal. I bet.
10
Don't
cent.
worry. Beyond Good
Yeah,
and Evil
10
2 is going
cents.
to come out. It'll save the company. It's going to be revolutionary.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, maybe Shadows is going to blow everyone away. It's going to be a whole new Ubisoft. It's not,
It's not.
but it might be. It could be. It's possible technically.
It is. I will say, this is probably the only Assassin's Creed game that I am even slightly excited for. I
This
have-
is the ripcord Assassin's Creed game. Like everybody's been saying, do Japan for 20 years now.
Ever.
Seriously.
So this is the in case of emergency.
Does
Yeah.
anyone know? I have not been following it really, other than the delays. Is it like Valhalla style or like Assassin's Creed 2 style?
I'm sure it's Valhalla style. I don't know.
Okay,
I think
that,
that's just how they do them now.
that's too bad. Well, except that they just released.
They did that other one that was
that other
specifically
one.
like this is a throwback
throwback.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I mean, I assume you're
Mirage?
correct. Mirage sounds right.
Yeah, I bet it's
That's right.
more.
I mean, that's too
Valhalla.
bad because I have like no interest in that style of game generally.
It seemed like when they did, was it Odyssey? Is that the first one they did that style?
No,
Origins.
Origins. It seemed like that one kind of, I don't know, took off a little bit. At least
Yeah.
that style, people seem to like it a lot when it first came
I
out.
feel like Valhalla, the tide had kind of turned. People were like, why is this so long?
Yeah.
Like, this is obnoxious. I just want to finish the game. And they were like literally before Valhalla came out, they were like, no, don't worry. It's not like ridiculous. It's not ridiculous. And they came out and people were like, what is this? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I don't know
actually
what they're going
liked
to do, man.
Origins.
Yeah? Did you play any of the other ones?
I did not, but I feel like Origins was like 30 hours maybe.
Yeah.
And then I think Odyssey was supposed to be like double, triple that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meaning to play Odyssey. I picked that up on sale, I think, maybe like a month ago.
For what it's worth, the lead team who's building this game is the same team that built Odyssey. So odds are it's going to be that giant open
Okay.
world,
Yeah, that makes sense.
not like Assassin's Creed 2
Yeah. It's a shame.
or Mirage or whatever that new one's called.
We'll go with Mirage.
Okay, last notes here from you, Jake.
Yeah.
And then
Not
you're not talking
Ubisoft.
for the rest of the podcast until we get all the way down to the very, very bottom. And that is, Owen's going to be really sad about this. Is
I
the
know.
first thing I thought when I read this.
Yeah.
Deceive Inc., the studios, shutting down.
Yes. So the name of the studio is Sweet Bandits. I was actually really surprised when I heard this news. I thought Deceive Inc. was pretty successful. Like, not, it's not COD or whatever. It's not Marvel Rivals, but like, it seemed like it had a pretty loyal fan base, and like it was doing pretty well for itself, at least at launch.
Yeah.
So I was surprised to hear that they were just shutting down. I think that's a shame. Because we played Deceive Inc. Not this previous Extra Life, but the one before that, and I don't think any of us especially enjoyed it. But I think it was at least a very interesting take in the multiplayer genre,
Man,
which I appreciated.
I feel like her introduction wasn't great, but it
No.
would have been a fun experience.
Yes, I think us playing with people who knew how to play it was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
But I like the concept. I had watched a few streamers play it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. This is cool. There's not a lot of games doing this.
Yeah.
So it's a shame that it's dying.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Plus, that's just pile on top of the lost games jobs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Do you have an active counter going for 2025, Alex?
Uh,
We should. I'll build
I have
you
a
an active
bookmark.
counter, and we can just put it at the top of the screen. So every time we podcast,
That's good.
No, thank you.
it'll just have the number.
this
I think this is pretty old news, though. This is a few months old at this point.
Actually, I
this
think
Obsidian document I follow, it says 14,600 this year. Or 2024, actually. That's what we ended up.
okay,
Don't-
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
I was like,
2024
that
Don't
anymore.
sounds-
scare me
that
like
can't be
that.
right.
What
Yeah,
news
no.
did I miss?
We got... There's 2 on here for 2025 already. Netmarble, FNC, I don't know who that is. And Java Sparks, is that what you're just talking about?
Sweet Bandits is what I
Two
was
Bandits.
talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this again.
not
This
even on
was
here yet.
from several. It was several months ago. It was still
Oh, okay.
2024.
Okay, well, let's talk about some
they're on
2025 news. NVIDIA
Yeah.
launching some straight out of the oven 5,000 series cards.
Yeah. Finally.
Did they pull it out of an oven again? They
No.
like that.
He did pull out. He had a small like a self-contained AI computer that he pulled out of the oven at one point.
Oh.
And was talking about. I don't remember what they're for. It's like a very strange microcontroller, but anyway.
Yeah, those things are stupid expensive also.
Yep.
And he's
Ovens?
like, yeah, you,
Yeah.
and you just like, you need more power, you just buy a second one, put it on top. I'm like, what are you talking about?
You know how
Um,
processors are like Jenga blocks?
Yeah. I watched I sort of watched, I skipped through a bunch of their keynote at CES. The beginning, they announced the new 5000 series cards, which have been a long time coming. And so we have the range from 5070, 70 Ti, 80, and 90 that we all know about officially now. They claim the 5070 has the performance of a 4090, and it is $549.
Yeah, it is
Sheesh.
very exciting. if that's
So-
correct.
That I imagine there's going to be some tomfoolery or something to do with that, and maybe it won't quite hit that margin. But if it's anywhere close, and it's only
Well-
549, so it's like less than half of a 4090.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about they think that they're lowering their low end cards price to make up for the fact that Intel's latest graphics cards are actually quite good for the price
Yeah.
point.
Mhm.
Like this latest batch that Intel released, it was like a month and a half ago, I think, or maybe a month ago. They're supposed to be really, really good.
Like actually really decent for like low and
Yeah.
mid end.
Like nothing like compared to Nvidia's high end stuff, but
Not-
if you're
not
looking for something
enthusiast, but-
basic, way better price point for
Nvidia's
per
kind of
value.
priced out the low end at this point in the last couple generations. So
Yeah, so
that's
some people are saying they lowered the price on their 5070 to try to make themselves a little bit more, palatable for people looking for less expensive stuff.
competition, baby. I also saw AMD, I don't think has announced their stuff yet, but people were speculating that was where they were trying to come in, and now that they're kind of like holding off because their only way to compete with Nvidia is undercutting price, really. So
Well, did you see, like, everything points to the fact that they intended to release their graphics cards this CES and decided not to
Yeah.
at the last minute? Like,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of stuff using their cards, and, like, there have been videos of people who are, like, booked to do, like, reviews who are just like, here's these cards that don't exist that I'm not allowed to talk about. Don't worry about it. These don't exist yet. Like, it's a really badly hidden secret.
yeah,
I
so
think
you got
we did get confirmation that they're changing their naming scheme to basically follow along with Nvidia's, though, right?
oh yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah, they're changing to, like, their numbers are going to end in, like, 70s or 80s or 90s, or just like Nvidia does to show quality.
That's
Making it-
probably a good plan, actually. I will. I wonder if there's going to be some sort of lawsuit involved because of that. Because we try
I
to get
doubt
like
it.
things associated close enough to try and wean off some customers from
Or, like,
Nvidia to
just
bring
trick
them over.
people and like
Yeah.
this is the
Oh, yeah.
5070, guys.
So now it's not quite like that, sorry. So, actually, hold on. I'm trying to pull up an article
find
that
it-
talks about it.
Interesting, they're trying to make their product line more intelligible at the same time that Intel is like destroying their CPU naming conventions.
Yeah, so now the newest cards that they're releasing are the RX 9070 XT and the 9070.
Mm.
Which just
9070.
sounds almost very similar to the whole, TI and regular versions that Nvidia releases.
Sounds
So,
better
you know,
than a
it-
5070. That's
I was
for
about
sure.
to say, if I'm
Yeah.
in a store and I see a 5070 next to a 9070,
Ooh, bigger number.
Think of all the more graphics in it.
yeah,
This article actually talks about how many times they have changed their naming schemes. It's very funny. They went from like HD 7000 to R7 200 to RX 400 to RX 5000. And then stuck with RX 6000 and 7000, and now we're RX 9070.
skipped 8.
Love it. Well, I mean, you could go that route, but if you do, you won't get frame warp technology with NVIDIA's Reflex 2.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Can I
And
just?
honestly-
I just want to read this headline that I found. It's the only reason it's in here. NVIDIA's Reflex 2 predicts milliseconds into the future of competitive games.
Heck yeah, dude.
Wait,
We got negative latency
We
back.
got negative
Yes!
latency.
Did they just buy like the Stadia IP and
They
like,
must have.
convert the tech over? Mm.
It's back. We can keep making the same joke over and over again. It's never going to get old.
So
Oh,
along
God.
with the new cards and Reflex 2, they announced DLSS 4. So I think the reason why they're going hard on Reflex is because they really want to reduce latency as much as possible, because there's a new feature in DLSS 4 called multi-frame generation, which is like current gen frame generation can like double frames in some cases. This would like quadruple, like it's going to add a bunch of extra frames in, which means your latency is going to have to be super good to not feel like you're just like behind in everything that you hit in the game, because frame generation adds a bunch of latency just already. But I think they showed a demo where they're using multi-frame gen, and it actually had slightly lower latency than regular frame gen currently with Reflex 2. So that sounds promising. They had a demo that they showed at the very beginning of the show that was like very graphically impressive. And then they talked about how like most of the pixels in the entire presentation were just generated by AI. Like they generated like 15% of the actual pixels, and then everything else was made up frames or scaled pixels from DLSS.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
Just inventing it out of thin air mostly.
That is absurd.
It's crazy.
Was there anything? Did anybody else watch anything from CES or read anything about other announcements? Anything interesting? I see other CES stuff in here.
There's I didn't check if this was mentioned later, but they announced HDMI 2.2 is announced and revealed, which is kind of cool. Although I'm not sure it's going to be a big difference quite yet.
Yeah.
2.2 supports up to 16K resolution, whereas 2.1 only supported up to 10K. And 2.2 also supports 96 gigabits per second transfer speeds, compared to 2.1's 48 gigabits per second, and DisplayPort's 80 gigabits per second. So
DisplayPort was at 80 gigabits per second, huh?
Yeah, DisplayPort was it like
DisplayPort
2.1B or something?
Yeah, DisplayPort's been better than HDMI for quite a while, I think.
2.1 leapfrogged them for a little bit. Most of our monitors that have DisplayPort have 1.4 ports.
Yeah,
those are slower.
They also point out 2.2 will support 4K resolution at 480 hertz.
Excellent.
There you go.
Excellent. That's definitely what I need.
That's the thing. Like monitors are progressing super quickly right now, and they keep on coming out with higher and higher refresh rate monitors, and you can't actually get bandwidth over the cable fast enough. So they're using display stream compression for all these new monitors. So you're not actually getting the full unfiltered image to the screen if you have it at max hertz. It's weird.
Man, how close do you guys think we are to just like capping out how good graphics can get?
I mean, I will also point out, tangentially related, there's a company at CES who released a monitor this year that is 750 hertz.
Oh wow, that's higher than I heard.
What?
750 hertz and a 0.5 millisecond response time.
You know,
Heck yeah.
Jake, that's actually a pretty interesting question, because I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about how like 10, 15 years ago, a lot of the big CEOs for the big developers their plan, like long-term plan, was the best, most cutting edge graphics possible.
Yeah.
You know, forget everything else. We want it to look like you're watching a movie when you're playing this game. And so like the story development beats, the actual content that was pushed out for a lot of these high graphical fidelity games, it just didn't meet the same expectation of where that graphics quality was. And I think that's the sort of disconnect for people, is they're like, sure, it's really nice to look at this nice game, but if it doesn't play well, I just don't care. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
We're still not done for sure, because stuff keeps on coming out that still can't run well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. But how much of that is like just optimization issues on the back end? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Some of it definitely is. I think some of it's still definitely not.
But I mean, it's also just like you look at like the gap between a PS1 and a PS2. Huge. Gap between a PS2 and a PS3. Pretty big. Gap between a PS4 and a PS5.
Yeah.
Okay. Stuff will run at 60 frames now. That's pretty cool.
Sometimes, yeah.
Like, it definitely looks better, but it's not like, whoa, crazy, insane better. So
I was
feel
actually
like
going to talk about this in Wabipple, but it's relevant now. But I've been playing Final Fantasy. And I started it on my PlayStation 5, and it is like, it's rough.
Really?
Like, in graphics mode, it is so blurry. It's really hard to look at. just stutters everywhere. And you put it in performance mode, and the resolution is so low that it's just like you can't even make out like distinct facial features on people and stuff. It's
Wait,
weird.
Really? I have not
Yeah.
had issues on performance mode. I think it looks great on performance mode, personally.
Man, it is like it's so blurry and low res. It's crazy.
Maybe it's just your
I
TV,
think
dog.
it's. I don't know.
Maybe it's your eyes. That laser eye surgery goes bad after a while, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mine hasn't yet.
fast forward. I swapped PlayStations with Chad for a little bit because he has a Pro,
Mm.
and so now I'm playing it on a Pro, and it is like night and day difference. It's crazy.
Hmm.
They have a new mode that's not graphics or performance. It's called versatility, that uses the pisser to
Excuse me?
maintain frame rate. That's what everybody calls it. It's PSSR, which is
Mm.
PlayStation's version of DLSS.
I see.
You gotta hydrate to make sure this is okay.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And it looks like a native 4K image essentially, and it's like locked at 60.
Hmm.
It's great. So, I mean, we still have it, even just in half gen improvements from PS5 to Pro. There's sometimes games are like significantly different.
I suppose.
I keep on thinking that we're like kind of getting close, and then I'll go look at a game from 10 years ago that I thought was the best thing ever, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, we're still progressing.
Yeah.
Go look at
This looks
Crysis.
worse than I remember.
Yeah.
Actually, not that impressive.
I think, honestly, the bigger thing at this point might just be how much it costs to make a game look like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Like,
development
I
time.
think- Yeah, exactly. I think so many of these AAA studios are realizing that, like, this is not sustainable. We cannot. Every game
Right.
can't be The Last of Us Part 2. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we need to find a way to make smaller, cheaper games. Like, how many live service games crash? Like, off the top of my head, like, Suicide Squad from last year.
yep.
Took a huge amount of money. It was in development for ages, and, like, almost nobody played it. You know, it fell flat as soon as it launched. And, like, you know, you can't have big failures like that if you're going to pour in all that money and time, right? Like,
You know, a fun fact, I just saw an article about how the teaser for the new Elder Scrolls game that they announced forever ago is now older than Skyrim was when that teaser came out.
Wow.
that's hilarious.
Before we move away from that graphics conversation, though, I think a lot of developers are probably seeing the cartoony kind of look as more of something that will last longer.
Sure.
So like your Overwatch, your Marvel Rivals, your World of Warcraft, like that style, like even when you go play WoW now, like it still doesn't feel like it's bad graphics just because of the choice that they made all those years ago to go into that cartoon style. Also with their upgrades and stuff like that and graphics upgrades, it's like easier to do on top of the cartoon. It's like you could just kind of
Yeah.
buff it a little bit rather than like buffing a hyper realistic game to even more hyper realistic. They can't really do that. So yeah, it's just like
Oh,
one of
that's
those,
a
like if it's a live
Horizon Zero
service,
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
if it's a live service game, then yeah, I think it needs to be like kind of one of those cartoony looks.
Yeah.
I also
Or it
think
needs to
that
be like hyper futuristic, kind of like Destiny or something, because Destiny doesn't look all that bad either.
Mm-mm.
But it's
Great
just like
art
your
style.
your space
Yeah.
kind of look.
Mhm.
It,
So I
it
was gonna
needs a
say-
strong art direction.
I
Sorry, go
think-
on, Aaron.
I think the like our perspective on what is good graphics is super subjective too, because you can say there's a lot of really small indie games that you could say have excellent graphics because they're so unique and the art style just makes it feel really fluid with what you're watching on the screen.
Yeah.
Like it makes me think back to games like Cuphead. What a
Sure.
strange art style, but I don't know that anybody would walk away from that and go, that was bad graphically. I mean,
Yeah, no,
there's
yeah.
just it's just so unique and captivating that you don't have to have something that's like so precise, so accurate, you know, whatever.
Yeah, and I think something like that is again gonna be something that outlives the graphic conversation, just because, I mean, you could probably pick up Cuphead anytime at any point of the timeline, and you'll be like, decent graphics.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
Cuphead. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
it?
I mean, if I was the same bug, look at some of the original Mario games. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
Mario.
Yep.
It's not like the
Mhm.
graphics have aged. They're pixels. I don't know.
Pixel graphics in general have aged brilliantly. Like you look at like early like 3D stuff, like PS1 era stuff, it looks horrible. And you go look at Super Nintendo stuff that's even older, and it's beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like original Tomb Raider with the triangle boobs.
love it.
It's so realistic, dude.
The other CES things, Lenovo announced a new handheld gaming system that is going to be running SteamOS. That's pretty exciting. Steam worked with them to get SteamOS working on that, and they also announced that Valve announced that they're going to be releasing this year a beta for SteamOS to be out in the world to be installed on whatever hardware we'd like. So that's pretty cool because
That's very
they
cool.
didn't make that available before. So now we can make our own Steam boxes and such.
Love that.
So that is pretty exciting.
That'll be Ben's next project.
Yeah, the Lenovo looks cool. I think the market's about to get flooded with SteamOS devices.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure.
It'll be crazy. The only other thing from CES that I saw, I just wanted to mention because it's ridiculous, but they have a fully wireless television, as in like
They've been showing off like slightly better versions of that.
it runs on
years.
batteries. Like it doesn't
Oh,
even have
this one
power.
does?
It like is fully wireless, and they have this weird contraption on the back of it that can just like suction cup itself to any flat surface.
Was it the portable one?
So you can just like put it on any wall or like anywhere you're like, installing a TV would be hard here, or we only want it for a little bit or something.
I don't have an outlet over here. Dang.
I don't have an out. Yeah, slap this full size television that is completely wireless on this
Wouldn't a-
wall real quick.
Wouldn't a projector just be easier and cheaper and better?
Lower
You fool.
quality.
This is
You're
CES.
right.
We
You're
don't
right.
know
What
what
am I
this
saying?
is up there. Hey, this is up there with when Lenovo showed off a laptop with a unrolling laptop screen.
Yeah,
Literally,
The amount-
it's a 14-inch laptop that you press a button and it unrolls itself into being a 16.7-inch laptop, but like it unrolls vertically, so it's an awful weird resolution.
CES is where all the weird stuff you would never actually see come to market just show up.
Sure.
It's
And
their
people are
like
just-
They're like remember the masks that who was making?
Oh,
those?
yeah,
The
yeah,
games
yeah.
thing?
Razor.
Razor, the
Razor
Razor
masks.
masks.
They did it
Set
on
out the
masks this
asterisk
year.
because it didn't even actually protect you from anything. It
Yeah.
wasn't, it wasn't
So
actually rated.
funny.
Oh, that, yeah.
The amount of times that my squeegee like falls off in the shower, that suction cup to the wall, like this
Oh,
just
oh
makes me
my
so
God.
nervous
Yeah.
that you just be upstairs, you hear this loud crash. You're just
Yeah.
like,
That's the TV again.
Oh,
You're gonna
man.
have so many people putting on like slightly textured walls, and it's gonna
Yeah.
come down so
Right
fast.
down.
Immediately.
They said like most textures are fine, even some rocks
What?
is what they said.
all right, sure,
I wonder what
yeah.
kind of
Wild.
I wonder what kind of tech they're using for that. Maybe it's not actually like a full suction cup then, because
It's something active. I know
Yeah.
that.
okay, so maybe
It's
like a
not
vacuum.
magnets.
And then
they
the
said.
batteries run out.
It's a tiny
and-
vacuum.
Yeah, the batteries run out and just falls instantly.
Some sort of
That's so
vacuum
much better.
system. Yeah.
There was a really interesting Veritasium video a couple years ago where he was talking with a company that was developing a new sort of like they were using it for gloves primarily, but it mimics what geckos have on their pads.
Oh.
And so you can like literally touch a wall, and if you try to move your hand on the wall, it just will not come off at all. It is
What you're
like-
saying is they're enabling people to become Spider-Man, is what I'm
yes,
hearing.
correct.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was
Dude.
really
It's
cool.
the
and
gloves
that's-
Cosplays about to get litty.
from Mission
Mission
Impossible
Impossible.
Ghost Protocol.
Yeah,
except
Ghost
you don't need a power to turn them on and off.
Oh.
Yeah, it just you can like he shows it where because you can peel off of the surface and you're fine. But if you try to lift or move your hand horizontally on the surface,
okay.
it will not move. You're stuck. Crazy. The one thing from CES I wanted to bring up that I think was really interesting is Google announced that they're going to be bringing Gemini to all of their Nest products. They're going to be doing a public sort of like preview later this year with Nest Hub, Nest Audio, and Nest cameras. And there was apparently like does anybody have Google Home in their house?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So there was like a sort of kitchen area set up at CES, and apparently people were going and testing it, and they only had it tied in to the person in the booth's voice, so it would not respond to anybody else. But he asked it like a whole bunch of really interesting questions, what I think is cool. Like things like, hey, what happened to the cookies that were on the table? And it went back and it checked the camera and saw a dog coming by and grabbing a cookie off the table.
No,
good.
I don't like this.
One of the questions he
Sorry,
asked it was,
I can't do that, Dave.
yeah.
Listen,
what's
we were
the song-
already worried about security companies putting our footage into their unsecure clouds, and
Take it
now
all.
we're
Take
giving it to an
all.
AI also.
Yes.
Mhm.
No.
He asked it questions like, what's the song from Wicked when they're dancing in the library? And it responded instantaneously and then started playing the song. He had a question about, hey, when was my package delivered? It played back the video of that specific FedEx package being delivered to the front door, like a whole bunch of stuff, which I don't know if you guys have a lot of experience with your Google Home, but I use it in every room in my house, and it can be really frustrating. Like it doesn't listen, or it doesn't recognize my voice, or it doesn't respond, or it's confused. And Gemini is excellent if you've used it at all. It's basically equivalent to ChatGPT's, I don't know what they call that mode, where you're just like conversation mode. Basically the movie
advanced
Her.
voice mode.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with my Google Home is when I'm trying to change my lights. Like I have to very clearly say like turn on off, like turn off is on, or like if I'm trying to change a scene, I have to be like turn to standard scene or something. Like, it should just be like turn to standard. Like I just want to, just
It's not natural language. It's very specific.
That is one of the things they're talking about, is that with AI, they're going to have a lot more natural language interaction. So it's going to be way less of that weird activate, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
So I'm excited. I think that's really cool. I use ChatGPT's natural language mode or whatever it is all the time. I just have it sitting on my desk and I'll ask it questions. If I'm like confused or something, it's become my rubber duck.
Listen,
Like
you
my
guys
program
are.
rubber duck.
Last week I was at my in-laws' house and I had the conversation with them where I went, if you see anything that says it uses AI, don't touch it. Don't use it. It's not a good idea.
And that reminds me, I was at an airport a couple weeks ago, and my phone was dying, and I couldn't find my brick, so I just ran around with my lightning cable and plugged it into every USB to see if I could
without
find
the
one.
condom.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, nothing. Just plug it into USBs to see if I could get it to charge.
I
Finally
usually do
found
that.
one. It was awesome.
I usually do that, and then I make sure that like I tell my cybersecurity analyst coworkers.
Heck yeah, dude.
Around
Disgusted.
Christmas, Chad was over and somehow ChatGPT came up and mom was like, what's ChatGPT? And I was like, how do you
Excuse
not know?
me?
I don't know what it is.
That's wild.
How's that
And
even
then-
possible?
Several weeks later, like a couple weeks later, I brought up ChatGPT again and she's like, what's ChatGPT? I'm like, we explained this. We explained
that's
this
why
whole
she
thing to
didn't know the
you.
first time.
Yeah.
We showed
It
you
had
how to
been explained. She
use
knew.
it.
She
We
just forgot.
She,
put
you know
the
what?
app on your phone.
That's what it was.
wow.
She relied on human input to inform her what ChatGPT was.
She should have asked
The prob-
ChatGPT.
The problem with
Correct.
that is just I hear like, I swear, and maybe it's just because of my job, but I hear like weekly stories about AI like leaking like private info and like crazy stuff happening. Like what? It was like a month and a half ago that I think Microsoft demoed a new AI feature where it would like auto fill stuff into browsers for you based on previous things you had typed and like previous ways you talk and things. And
Yeah.
literally within like 48 hours, it had been caught basically grabbing people's like social security information when they typed it into their browser for like,
Who
government
types-
sites.
Okay, all right. Maybe. Man, that's very uncommon, though.
And or just like or credit card information. Like, it was
Sure,
grabbing
sure.
that stuff and sending it off to like Google's or to Microsoft servers, and it like leaked it like literally within 2 days. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. Listen, I think AI is super cool. I'm not going to touch it for at least another year, probably, until some of the kinks
What,
are more ironed out.
My CEO was actually saying that we should utilize the tools of AI to benefit our everyday work. And
I use it for some stuff.
right. And somebody was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, is there any like guidance or guidelines on like what we should and shouldn't do with it?" And I'm like thinking to myself, "Okay, just don't put anything that's private information or like anything that's like sensitive information. Like just use it for like write me this, write me that. Like it's super simple to use."
Well, yeah, some of the stuff I have to deal with now is I work at a healthcare facility and they come to me and they're like, hey, listen, there's this cool thing that I tried out that like listens to our meetings and then will AI generate summaries for me. And I'm like, you can't use that. No. You're talking about patients and meetings.
Yeah, that's got to
horrible.
be a HIPAA violation.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if that
But, like,
Microsoft thing
I
you're talking
do-
about is Recall.
I don't remember what it was. I'd have to go look. But I will say I do use ChatGPT on occasion, but I mostly use it for like if I'm like, hey, listen, ChatGPT, can you give me a PowerShell script that'll change the setting and that I can push out to like all 300 computers, and it'll just like boop, and then I test it and I go, hey, ChatGPT, it gave me this error, and then it gives me a fixed version, and I go through that cycle like twice, and then I'm done, and I've got the whole working script.
I've done
and it's
that
great.
a bunch.
I love
It's
it.
cool.
Man.
It's so nice.
That's- That is such a small use case scenario for chat. There
Right.
are
One more.
so many. I was
Oh, yeah.
okay.
I was talking to one of my coworkers. Literally, he said he uses it all the time, and one of the things he said he uses it for blows my mind. Which is, he's like, yeah, he uses it for grocery shopping, which is literally he will make a grocery list like his own, like he just makes a list, and then he'll go to ChatGPT and paste it in and go like, here's my grocery list, here's the physical address of the grocery store. Can you organize it by aisle in the store? And it just pastes out everything on his list ordered by aisle.
Okay, one,
and I'm just
that's
like, that is
scary.
insane.
awesome.
Doesn't know the
Awesome.
aisles.
It's so minor, but I'm like,
Crazy.
that's crazy.
The real question is, does it get the aisles right?
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
can organize the
It does.
list by aisles.
True.
He says he gets it. It's right. He gets it accurate every time.
Yeah, I just have a Hy-Vee membership, and I have somebody else shop for me. So
There you go.
Okay.
Uh,
I want to
before
talk
we
about.
move on, hold
Okay,
on.
go, yeah, go,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Ben.
You're
Have
good,
you
you're
ever heard of and/or been to the Black Hat conference?
I know of it. I have not been to one though.
Okay. One of my coworkers was explaining to me that is a quote unquote PvP on conference. And
It is. Yes, it is a conference that is entirely based around cybersecurity, and it's mostly recommended you want to not bring your phone or any electronics to it if you want to be safe.
He was
It is
explaining to
assumed
me
you will get hacked if you bring anything there.
he was explaining to me that he puts like bags and sheets and like all sorts of stuff in front of his door to make sure that nobody gets into his room, and like it's it's a
Wow.
wild
I
conference.
haven't heard of physical burglary at those conferences
Well-
as much, but
Yeah, I don't know. He
What,
said
the,
that basically that wasn't a conversation of like plugging into the airport stuff. He was like, once you go to Black Hat, it'll change your life. Like you won't look at anything the same again.
I'm
well,
I'm
yeah,
kind
do
of
you guys
imagining
remember,
it's like a Mission Impossible situation where he's got one of those like what do you call those? The arms that you
Camera.
can move when you're like moving the little cameras. Except on the
Yeah.
end, it's got a USB. You like go under the door and you move it up and you find their computer and you plug in.
Well, do you guys remember hearing about well, you may have not heard this, but does the Flipper device ring a bell for
Yes.
anybody?
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
like the
yeah.
little hacker thing. So I had a coworker who did go to Black Hat last year, and while he was there, he bought one of those Flipper devices, and literally within like 4 hours of purchasing it, he sent me a video of him using it to basically Bluetooth unlock his hotel room door. Like at his hotel,
Nice.
like he just walked up to it, no key, no nothing, and just like boop, unlocked
Those
his
things
hotel
are
room door. I'm like, that is
absolutely wild.
horrifying.
Yeah, is that used for anything other than crimes? Like genuinely, because I can think of like 100 things to do, and probably all of them are illegal.
It's
It
like
falls in
yeah.
the bucket. It falls in the bucket of a lot of things, which is they're marketed as pen test tools,
Mm-hmm.
which means
Mm.
they're marketed for you use them to not technically commit crimes because you're doing it to yourself to make sure that you're not hackable.
Mm-hmm. To
Totally.
pretend
And that's
to commit
all
crimes.
you should
You
use it
pretend
for.
crime with
They
it.
can't be used for anything that's not crimes if you did it to someone else.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
I think Black Hat isn't that the one they also have like a board on display that has like stuff pulled off of the Wi-Fi constantly. So like if you're sending your password over something that's not
I think I
encrypted,
heard of
there's
something like that. Yeah,
they'll just display it on this board. It's like the board of shame.
that sounds like something I've
That's
heard
great.
before. So no, I have not ever been there.
Well, a couple other things in news realm. First and foremost, Caleb, you wrote in here this video game company, Shift Up.
Yeah. The Shift Up is the people that made Stellar Blade and
Oh.
a variety of other things. But Stellar Blade's kind of their big thing right now.
Oh, I love this story.
Yeah, and they're doing like actual cool stuff. They gave all of their employees a $3,400 bonus over
Hell yeah.
Christmas and a PS5.
Oh,
Oh,
I did hear this story. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
And a
Sorry, just
PS5.
did you
They
say
were
a base PS5?
I think it is just a base PS5. but-
Use it. Put it throw it in
Yikes.
the garbage.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly,
Absolute dog
like,
shit.
Why even bother?
But it's just nice to hear a story about a video game
I
company.
couldn't do
that
30th anniversaries. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Did they at least bundle Astrobot with it?
The game of the year.
Probably bundle still played with it.
Probably, yeah.
Here's the game that you guys made. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully you guys like it.
Have you heard of it?
Why do they have to give PS5s there? Can you imagine working at a company making a PS5 game and not owning a PS5?
I thought the same thing. I was like, I'm pretty sure most people there
Just
probably
like, how many
own a
of them
PS5.
didn't have one?
Yeah, okay, but here's the question, right? How many of those people have family members and or close
yeah.
friends that don't have a PlayStation that they can now
Sure.
just give them to play the game
I
that
don't
they
know,
have
man.
created?
I'm gonna be honest. I think if any of you guys like worked for a company developing PS5 games, I would be significantly more likely to have purchased a PS5
Yeah.
at some point.
That's true.
You would think.
Like, I'm not saying it's 100%, but it goes from my currently I like 10% want one. It would
Yeah.
bump me to like a 70
Makes sense.
to 80%.
I really like I find myself really wanting to buy like wood soundproofing panels constantly.
Mm.
Just because, I have somebody close to me that works at, a place like that. So yeah.
Mhm.
No, you don't. You don't want to buy from that company. Trust me.
Hmm.
You can buy it much cheaper online. I'll send you a link.
Wow.
Was the
Crazy.
anti-marketing?
don't
we
you
don't do
dare buy
residential, so
stuff
it doesn't
from my
matter.
company.
Yeah, they're
I
gonna
can
use
say whatever I
Gemini
want.
and they're gonna be like, tell us where Aaron wasn't loyal to our company.
Yeah.
And it's gonna pull up this
Documented
video.
proof.
Yep. Heck yeah, it will. I hope so. Also, a couple teases. Maybe there's question marks. Is there
This
a Half-Life
first-
tease?
That's got to be a typo, right?
Yeah, there's no way,
You'd
right?
think so. So January 1st of this year, the voice actor for G-Man, Mike Shapiro, put up a tweet, and he just mentioned something about being prepared for unexpected surprises. He says in the G-Man voice for this year, and there's been a bunch of, I think, substantiated rumors this past few months about Half-Life development going on in Valve.
Yeah, I was
Different
gonna say, I think I
voice
heard
actors on
another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I heard another one too.
Yeah, I think Gordon Freeman's voice actor has been saying
Oh,
that stuff,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
He's known for that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you think we're long enough away from Half-Life 2 and people are like still kind of memeing about Half-Life 3 that if Half-Life 3 starts development, it could actually go under the radar for long enough that we won't know it until it releases?
No way.
I don't know. Genuinely, if you told me right now that Half-Life 3 was confirmed, I'd be like, you're lying. That's
Exactly.
not correct. Like, I don't even
Well,
believe
Even if
you.
it
That's
gets
a joke.
leaked, like,
Yeah.
nah,
It's like, no, that's
false.
fake. There's no way.
That's a good point.
There's like a bunch of little things that people think might be linked to an ARG at some point.
Mhm.
People keep on finding. Also, did you know that the name of chapter 3 of Half-Life Alyx is called Is or Will Be?
Oh, I didn't know that.
It pops up, it says 3, is or will be. Like, what is that?
That's good.
Also, I think it was either today or yesterday. If you go on Valve's Steam developer page, where you can see like Deadlock in the upcoming list, the upcoming list now, instead of saying 1, has a 2. But there's not a second game there. So there's a game that's hidden from the public in the list. It's happened before with other developers. I think somebody mentioned it was like a Persona fighting game or something that the list updated to include a number more than what was shown, and then they announced that game like several days later. So that's interesting.
Huh.
I don't believe it.
There's
I don't either.
something.
I
There's
don't
something
believe it. I don't believe it.
Mm-mm.
I'll be happy to see anything Half-Life.
I bet it's
From
Deadlock too. I bet that's what it is.
Deadlock 2.
Mhm.
What's the game from the devs that they absorbed that never came out?
Oh. Yeah.
The Firewatch devs,
The
right?
Firewatch people. Yeah.
Oh.
I can't remember the name of the game.
I have it on my wish list because it says release date of like 2029.
Just like invent a new Steam page for that under Valve now. They just release it.
I think, wasn't it confirmed that like most of them are off doing other things?
Yeah, they
Or almost all of them.
just
Maybe all
like
of
stopped working on that game.
They're working on TF2 hats.
them.
Yeah.
The dream job.
I don't know what it was called anymore.
Something with gods in it, I think.
Like that was the name, something with gods in it.
In the Valley of Gods or something like that.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is good content, though.
In the Valley of Gods.
We have a cat around, you know.
I mean, that's the best kind of content. Can we just like,
does
can you do me a
say-
favor? Just get rid of all of our cameras and just blow up Chad's camera so we can just all
Yeah.
stare at the cat.
Just get Flynn the whole time. Heck yeah.
It's the most important part of the cast.
They did change the release date to December 2029 at some point. That is so funny.
I thought it was 2029. Okay.
It's really funny, actually.
One other tease. Is there really going to be a new Nier game? Is this a real tease? Because you also have a question mark behind
you
this.
That's why it's a tease, maybe. The producer for Nier series put out a tweet also that seemed somewhat cryptic. He was saying that 2025 is a milestone year as it marks the 15th anniversary of the Nier series. So they'd like to do something for it.
Oh,
What should we do? Maybe something with the next game or developments related to that? That's quoted. So, I don't know. Seems like maybe they're going to do something Nier related.
I mean,
or at least
it is-
announce news about Nier stuff.
It's been so long since a new Nier game, right? Like, even the
Yeah,
one
was
that
that
came out last year, 2 years ago, was a remake, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
they
was
did.
it?
They did the mobile game, which I don't
They
think was
made a
that
mobile
long
ga-
ago. That was 2020, I
But
think.
why did they even bother with that?
It was
They saw how well
essentially-
Diablo Immortal went and went, oh, we got to get out of all that.
Yeah.
it was essentially a sequel to Automata that ended up being a gacha game. It has
Really?
like, well,
Do I need to
spiritual
play
sequel,
it?
maybe.
There's- I'm not
You
going to
don't-
play it.
you can't
I don't know why I
anymore.
asked.
It's dead.
Thank God.
It's done. You can't
Cool.
play it. It wasn't that good anyway.
Okay.
sadly. But
I mean, yeah.
a new Nier game, heck yeah, man. So
Yeah.
I'd be so excited to play one. I didn't even play all the way through Gestalt, the remake. I think I
Yeah.
played through it like 3 times, and I was like, that's enough. I don't need to play through it another time.
No. I am excited. Someone in my Steam family has it, so I can just play it off their account.
Love that.
Mhm.
Especially love finding out when people haven't even played the game and, you know, somebody else plays 2 hours.
you can't refund it.
I do feel bad about that. I've been more careful. I did not think that would. I
Yeah.
didn't know that
But
would happen.
I was going to say, unrelated, Chad, have I mentioned thanks for owning Dragon Age Veilguard?
Yeah, the game that I haven't played.
I think I might owe you a kickback or something at this point.
And you'll buy other games that I'll play. Like
Yeah.
Deep Rock Survive. I think that you own that and I don't.
Am I the only one who owns that?
I don't know. I have been playing it though.
I think I own it.
I'm loving it. But we'll get to that in Wabipple.
Can't say the name.
Yeah, he said it already. He's basically ruined it. We have to go into it now.
We have
That's
to
the
restart the
problem.
podcast.
Yeah. I think Alex said it first though, a while ago.
He did. I was not
Oh,
the first
did he?
one.
Unbelievable.
Restart the podcast twice.
Ugh.
2 quick things in movies. First, I wanted to note Sonic 3's box office. It became at the end of 2024, it became the 18th highest grossing film of 2024 with $341 million grossed worldwide.
All right, genuine question. Are the Sonic movies good?
Yes!
I've
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
heard they're pretty
I haven't
good.
seen 3, but
I haven't
seen
seen
three
any of
either.
them. But
Huh.
They're
I've only seen clips, and I'm like, this looks all right, I guess.
I've heard
No,
some people
man.
say 3 is the best one.
really?
Yeah.
Man, I'm so
I've
excited.
seen a lot of people saying that.
Really? Weird.
I'll have to watch them.
You gotta
Yeah.
watch them. They're very good. I like them a lot. They're
They're good.
definitely
Not
like.
enough to go see 3, though.
No.
I didn't have a good opportunity to do it.
He's been busy. He's a busy boy.
I was-
Mhm.
It's been kind of busy. But yeah, I just think that's really interesting. It is also now the highest grossing Sonic the Hedgehog film to come out. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's
not
basically of
surprising
the
at all.
3, right?
It's
Like,
okay.
I was like 18th place and 300 million. Like, is that good? I don't know.
It's not
pretty-
amazing, but I think it's been a bad year for movies.
I'll probably do the same thing they did with Transformers and create 4, 5, and 6, and you know it'll be
Mhm.
trash.
it has
Put
been.
Mark Wahlberg in it.
It was like a weird year for movies. Is the thing. We had things like Inside Out 2, which broke like all the records with $1.7 billion. Deadpool and Wolverine 1.4. You had Despicable Me 4, Moana 2, Dune Part 2, Wicked, This always sounds
Madam
funny.
Web.
I
Yeah.
wasn't going to include that. Godzilla
Raven.
X Kong: The New
Raven.
Empire, which is the 7th highest grossing film of 2024. Yes, that's correct.
Wild.
Yep,
Heck yeah.
$571 million worldwide. Kung
I
Fu
helped out
Panda,
with that one.
Kung Fu Panda 4, Mufasa, Lion King, and Venom. Those are the top 10 for what it's worth.
Venom.
Okay. I
Venom's
thought,
in the top 10, huh?
Yeah, that's depressing.
Wait, did Madam Web come out this year? Or 2024, I should say, not this year.
I
It did.
thought
It's
Was it?
37th.
Okay.
Madam
37th.
Web,
Go
Craven,
Madam
and
Web.
Venom 3 all launched in the same year.
Damn, they only released 37
yeah.
movies in 2024.
Craven. Oh my gosh! Worldwide box office $58 million. I think they said that movie was going to lose a couple $100 million, similar to Joker 2. Fully, I do.
Well, it was the one that made them decide to stop making those, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of surprised that Craven didn't do well, especially because of like how well the Spider-Man video game did, and Craven's in it.
Did
That's
you
true.
see? It was like the CEO of Sony Pictures or something came out and was like, "Those movies are actually good. Critics
Mhm.
ruined it for everybody."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Hilarious.
The other thing I wanted to know, Derek came down for our Christmas party, which didn't happen because we had a sheet of ice and then 13 inches of snow on top of it,
Yeah.
and I didn't want people to drive to our house and die on the way home. So we
I
decided.
would have walked, man.
I know you're like
Yeah,
one of the
'cause-
few who could actually get here.
I would have died on the way there.
I was gonna say
You could've died
driving
on the way.
there is perfectly safe. Driving home,
Yeah. Actually, you might be right, Alex. It might have been worse on the way here than it would be on the way home because it was
Yeah,
ice
it was
just in the
just
beginning.
It was just ice at that point, and
Yeah.
no snow.
Anyway, so Derek got stuck here for the entire weekend, which he was not anticipating, and so therefore I was originally planning on Sunday to just play some games. Derek and I wasn't going to play some games while he was just hanging out, so we decided we're just going to watch a bunch of movies.
Nice.
And we kicked this off with 2005's Stealth, starring Jessica
Heck yeah,
Biel
that's a
and
good movie.
Jamie
my
Foxx
God.
and Josh Lucas.
movie's so good.
What?
Also so bad, but so
Why
Why
did you
good.
that?
pick that?
I don't know. And then
Did
Who
Derek
chose
pick
it?
it?
I think it was because it was on Netflix, and we just turned it on, and we were
And
like,
then
"Oh,
Jessica
this
Biel
looks
popped
good."
across the screen.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And
basically.
you left
One
it
of those
on.
things where
Got it.
like you highlight it in Netflix for long enough that it like fades out and you're just watching it.
And you're like, well, I
Sure.
guess we have
I think
to
it
now.
was actually. Now that you say it,
Incredible.
That's how
Okay.
they get you.
and then this is okay. Then we started talking about how like because the snow had already started at that point, and Derek proceeds to tell me that his favorite movie of all time is The Day After Tomorrow.
Oh my
All
gosh. How did I
time.
not know
That's
this?
pretty high for the day after tomorrow.
That's excellent.
Right? So I said, "Have you ever seen Geostorm or
Oh man.
Greenland?" And he had
Greenland
not
I like.
he had not seen either of those movies, and I brought up Geostorm, and he was like, I told him Gerard Butler was in that film, and he's like, "Oh man, big fan."
Big fan.
And I'm like, "Oh god, no, please, why?" He has in very few good movies, so whatever.
Has
So
he
we ended up
seen
watching-
like? Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. What are you gonna ask? Because I'm gonna change.
Has he seen movies like any other than that one?
He consumes media. That dude watches so much. And
Day After
and
Tomorrow
still,
wins.
Yep.
That's unhinged. Unhinged. I know he's seen John Wick.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not a Marvel movie with how into
I
Marvel
am
stuff
too,
is.
yeah. Surprised
So-
it's not Endgame.
I think because of this conversation, we were talking about Gerard Butler. We ended up watching 2018's The Vanishing, which is a really interesting film about this lighthouse on a small island off the coast of Scotland. Anyway, that was kind of like a sidebar. We continued talking about Gerard Butler, and then I find out he's never seen Moonfall, which is made by the same director
Oh,
as Day
man.
After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we watched Moonfall, and he had no idea what the movie was going to be about, which if you've not seen Moonfall,
It's so
It-
good.
it's like 2012 on steroids. It's excellent. It's so stupid, but it's so
Slight
good.
spoilers, but is this the one where they put rockets on the Earth? And
No.
Nope.
okay, that's a different
Nope.
one.
That's the Wandering Earth.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the Wandering Earth that checks out.
Yeah, yeah.
The Moonfall goes places.
Oh, it does.
The moon specifically.
Like
Sure.
the plot has no business going as far as it does beyond just the moon is falling and it's a disaster movie.
And,
and it does.
Yep. Yep. It just keeps going too. You think you're done? Nope.
It's kind of like 2 movies in one.
Yeah, a little bit. I was excited to hear that the writer is working on a script for Moonfall 2. So.
Heck yeah. The moon falls again.
I thought that movie like flopped pretty hard.
Actually don't know.
Moonfall. I didn't think it did very well. At least that was the buzz at the time. I mean, people.
I sure wouldn't have thought.
You know
it would
how
do
headlines
very
are.
well.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really in a disaster movie era presently.
I
But
mean,
I don't
It's
know.
one of the best bad movies. Really. It's so
What?
good.
wow, worldwide box office $67 million. Yeah, so it didn't do great.
I feel like it has a cult following now, though.
It probably does. It's only got 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. Anyway, okay, so at this point we're like, all right, we have to watch actually quality films. So we watched Gladiator 2. I don't know if anybody's seen Gladiator 2,
Is
but
it
I just want
good?
to bring this up.
I haven't seen the
I
first
actually
one.
really liked it. My only issue is that, and this has kind of been said across the internet, is Denzel still just sounds a
Can't
little bit
just
like
upset
Denzel.
Jake.
Mhm.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm not trying to interrupt you. Ben has not seen Gladiator, and that is painful.
That's what he just
Oh.
said. Yeah.
That
Go
day.
on.
Sorry, I said it, and I think Aaron didn't hear me, and I just saw Jake go, just get upset.
It's so good, and it's just good. Let's move on. It's fine.
It is a classic film.
It is. It's so good.
Maximus Decimus Meridius.
Yeah.
Well,
The
it's
second
old,
film
then,
does a
you know.
very good job being true to the I don't know, Gladiator franchise at this point, I guess is what you'd call it. the original movie, but they also expound on a lot of things, and it's a fun film. I don't think there's anything that's like too far out there. It's a really probably a good ending and kind of like a wrap up to that the whole series, the story that Gladiator's trying to tell, I guess. But if you're interested in watching that, you're in for a wild ride. They do fill the Coliseum up with water. If you've seen in the trailer, it's in the trailers. And apparently they did that back when the Coliseum was a thing. They filled it up with water and
What?
had boat battles.
Wow.
Nice.
That's the
Yes.
stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I love that.
I love that. That's great.
I mean, they didn't have movies to watch. What do you expect?
I mean, I
They gotta do
guess.
something for fun.
The last thing we watched, which is probably in I'm going to say it's my second or third favorite movie of the year, is Alien Romulus.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
If you have not seen Alien Romulus, it is, man, it checks all the boxes. What a great film. It has like that retro futuristic vibe. It also has like the traditional like alien vibe, like a horror film, everything. All of it. It's just chef's kiss.
They wanted to go back to like original Alien feel,
They
and
freaking nailed it.
they nailed a lot of it. Yeah.
The director actually talked about his influences from the game Alien Isolation.
Oh,
Which is
really?
kind of fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
There's like one little thing he does, because I don't know if anyone's played Alien Isolation, but your save system is like a phone in the game. And so usually if something's really like intense and likely to kill you, it's usually near a phone. So in the movie, a lot of times when something really bad happens, there's a phone. That's what the
Cool.
director said.
That's cool.
Anyways. I would need to watch it, but like check for that. But I thought that was really
Interesting.
cool.
Interesting. I don't know. I really liked it. This guy hasn't done a lot. I think this is his first like huge film,
Mhm.
and he just nailed it. Also, about made basically the same as what Sonic did. 350 million.
I just
Anywho.
went down a rabbit hole because you started naming off bad movies and watching them with a friend. And there was a thing that McCartney and I did, which is we started with Extraction back in 2015.
Hey,
And
Extraction is a
after-
good movie.
All right, pause because I know what you're thinking and you got to hear me out.
Okay.
Extraction 2015 is not the same Extraction that you're thinking of.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Now, this is not the Netflix original Extraction
So-
with
Right,
What's
this
his
was
face?
with
Thor.
Bruce Willis and I don't even know this other actor. But anyways, it also has Gina Carano in it or something like that. I don't know, it's wild. This is a wild film. It's so bad. It got a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is like one of the worst movies we have ever experienced. But after we watched that, like anytime we wanted to watch something, we were like, well, it's got to be bad. Like it's got to be a bad movie.
Heck
Like,
yeah.
But the reason I was like, quote unquote, went down the rabbit hole is because I typed in Extraction trying to find this movie, and I'm like, no, I could have sworn the name is Extraction, and it just kept coming up with Chris Hemsworth movie, and I'm like, that's a good movie, like that's fine, like that's okay, like Extraction and then Extraction 2, those are good, and so I actually had to go on Plex, type in Extraction because that's where we watched it. And I was like, wait, there is a 2015 Extraction. And the Bruce Willis thing came up, and I'm like, yep, this is the one. This is a god-awful movie. So if you guys want to watch a really bad movie,
sometimes it's necessary. I mean, every once in a while, I'll watch something with Liam Neeson in it, just because I need something bad.
Man.
You need the warm blanket of
Does
what you're
Liam
going to
Neeson
get.
make bad movies?
Is that a... Yeah, he makes bad movies.
I thought Taken was good.
Well,
How long
sure.
ago was Taken, dude?
It's so...
I don't know. That
Ben-
came out a couple years ago,
because
right?
Ben hasn't seen a movie since Taken.
I've never seen
ever
Taken.
since
I've just heard it's
Taken,
good.
He's just been making the same movie with different titles.
Correct.
Yeah.
But now here, Liam Neeson's only in bad movies. I've never seen any movie with Liam Neeson in it.
Name
one Liam Neeson
I
movie
watched
you've
Star
seen.
Wars Episode 1.
I had a feeling that was going to be your
Wow.
answer.
It's a
How'd
great
I know?
movie.
Amazing.
Man,
That
You
might
are
be
spot
the
on,
only
though,
Liam
Alex.
Neeson movie I have watched.
every movie he makes now is just literally a copy paste of the last film with a different
Yeah.
title and a slightly different vibe and maybe a different place. He even made I think
Playing
it's
telephone with himself.
Nonstop. Is that what it's called?
Yep, I'm pretty sure it's nonstop.
Same thing,
Yeah.
except the setting is just an
On a
airplane
plane.
this time
Yeah.
instead of a city. I will find you. Okay, all right, I got it. All right, let's move on from movies. Ben, you had an off-podcast segment that we've decided to make an on-podcast segment, which is you telling us what you thought about the end of Elden Ring.
Yeah, it turns out. Sorry, it doesn't run on my computer now. I can't play it.
Good news,
It's
it'll run on your
wild.
Steam Deck.
Hmm.
Steam
Well,
Deck verified.
If it'll run on your Steam Deck, that means it will run on your computer.
Shut up, Alex. No, I started talking about it before the cast, and then I realized that it's probably enough content. I should just say it on the cast. For anybody watching, I decided for the new year I was going to teach myself how to use Linux, and I was going to do that by installing Linux on my desktop and make it my daily driver. And I pulled my drive out of the computer that had Windows on it, and I am just living with Linux, and it is interesting. It's different. It's more different than I thought, which is a weird sentence. So I
What?
installed it. So here's the thing. I installed
Distro?
it first. The distro I'm using is called Pop! OS, which is based on Ubuntu. I installed it first, and it's got a full GUI. So at first, I start poking around. I'm like, oh, okay, I get the feel for this. You know, browser here, App Store here. You know, like okay, it's. I mean, I can use it like Windows, just a little different. And then things started getting weirder as time went on, and I'd be like, I want to install a program. It's on the App Store. How do I? Ah, shit. Wait, and then I had to go like. I thought I could get away with not having used the command line, and I was in there like literally day 2, basically,
Yeah.
trying to like Google how to do stuff. I haven't had to do too much with it yet, but a little bit. It's mostly been a little annoyingly inconsistent is the best way I could describe it. Like, I never realized how much I took for granted that Windows is just consistent. Like, let me, as an example, hopped on a Discord call 2 days ago. Mic just didn't work. Just non-functional. Like, rebooted the computer, reinstalled drivers, just mic would not function. And then I don't even, it just started randomly working again after a bit. And I was just like, okay, what happened? Literally today I got on my mouse. I've got a Logitech mouse. I've got one of the ones that can be wired or wireless. The wireless is just broken. I haven't fixed that yet because that happened right when I got on the cast. I don't know why. Wired works fine. As soon as wireless just broke. Was working fine yesterday. No idea. And I've had issues with other peripherals too, where they just like randomly stop working. So that's not thrilling. There's other pieces of software that I've just been having to find alternatives to. Luckily, a lot of them is fine, but like we had an issue right beforehand. I installed Mumble. Mumble, you have to install it out of their like apps. This OS, they have an app store, and I installed Mumble out of it, and it was the latest version. Well, because the server we're using doesn't use the latest version, I had to downgrade. Here's the thing: Windows, you just go onto their website and go, I'm just going to download the file for the old version. If you go on Mumble's website, under Linux, it just says, you probably have a version released by your distro. Use that. And I went, oh no.
Did you put in
yeah.
a ticket to your server admin to get Murmur updated?
I'm gonna work on that next. I don't know
Right.
why. It's
Good. It's
super
good.
weird. I don't know who could be at fault for that. That
I
our
don't-
server's so out of date.
Nobody submitted a ticket for it, so it just
You don't have a ticketing system. I've told you this for years. You need a ticketing system.
You know, there's one for
Okay.
Plex and it's great.
Yeah, there kind of is one for Plex that I think Caleb exclusively uses.
Oh, there's one for Plex. I'm going to start using your Plex ticketing system for regular things
Wait.
and just find random episodes
Actually-
and submit tickets on those episodes, but have it be related to something else on the server that I need fixed.
Back up for a second.
I use
Caleb
Unify.
uses this?
Oh yeah.
Anytime there's like a subtitle issue with an anime or something like that, I'll get like a push notification from Overseer that a new issue's been reported and it's from Caleb.
Man, I need to
Heck
use
yeah.
that instead of texting you.
Yeah,
That is way funnier.
I've only had to
I,
text him one time because the issue wasn't resolved in a reasonable amount of time.
Okay, hold on. Now let's back up. What's the reasonable amount of time? I'm
I think
curious
I gave
about
him
this
like
now.
4 days. or
He
something.
waited, yeah.
Okay.
It was
Oh, wow,
days.
okay. I
Yeah,
was
no,
thinking
I'm
30
texting
minutes.
him. Yeah, I'm texting him within 30 minutes, and I'm like, "Hey, I want to watch this. Change. Give me
You
titles.
fix
What are
your
you doing?
shit.
I've thought about
You're,
setting
you're
up-
playing board games with Aaron and Kit. No, fix this now.
Yeah, step
Yeah.
away.
If I message Alex about a problem on the server, if I need something downloaded and it's not fixed within like 30 minutes and it's video related, I literally will go rent it on Amazon and watch it there.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm so
Just
impatient.
watch something else.
No,
in the meantime.
I'm like, I want to watch this right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can't get it on Plex in 4K. I'm gonna go watch it on Amazon.
There's
I don't know,
been
Caleb.
There's been 2 or 3 occasions where Chad's been like, the new episode of this has not downloaded. And then I'll go look and it's like actively downloading. Like it is in the process. He just didn't quite wait long enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought
there's a
about
couple
if
ti-
people
there's
ever
been a-
start using mine. Ubiquity has a built-in ticketing system, and I was like, I'll just use that.
Hmm.
There was one time where I texted Alex, and then like he didn't respond to me, but I got a Plex notification that the episode was available, and I was like, "Did you do this?" And he's like, "Nah."
No,
Nah.
didn't
Let's
get
have
a
a
chance to look
modicum
at it
of
yet.
patience. Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting. I got Proton working for most of my Steam games, although I'm having some performance issues on some of them. I was playing some like less graphically intensive games for a while, and it was working fine. But then I booted up Last Epoch, and it's like if I run anything over medium quality, my frame rate's still great and it looks fine, but I get horrible screen tearing. It's really weird. And like I was like, oh, what if I turn on VSync? And I turn on. Turns out VSync makes the screen tearing worse
Weird.
on my system, which is
Interesting.
the opposite of what it's supposed
Yeah.
to do.
Well, yeah, you activated screen tearing.
Yeah.
Of course. So there's just stuff like that. There's a lot of tweaking I'm having to do to get it to function, which I kind of expected some of that going into it, and it is Linux after all. I'm now I think I set this up January. I think I did it January 1st. So I've been running it for 2 weeks now. It's a week and a half, but I don't know. It's interesting. As long as I can actually get my stuff working. I mean, we saw it took me the first 45 minutes of the cast to make my camera look decent. That's fun.
Nope.
I've been messaging Megan a whole lot on the side because she daily drives Linux too, and I'm just like, Megan, help! I don't know what I'm doing.
No consideration for dual booting?
So I haven't yet. I thought about it. So the problem is my Windows installation on my old drive. It was on a 512 gig drive, so it was too small to really set up dual booting. I've got a 2 terabyte drive in there right now with the intention of setting up dual boot because I only partitioned a terabyte of it in for Linux, and then I copied my I cloned my Windows drive over to the new partition on the new one. Weird problem I'm finding out now. Something about Linux, it does not I can't get into the boot menu on my computer anymore. Like it skips through like it doesn't. I don't know if it like enabled a different type of fast boot or something, but it like literally skips through BIOS and like I can't see BIOS or post. It just goes straight into Grub and then into Linux, and then I'm just there. Like I spent an hour last night troubleshooting and trying to figure out how the hell to boot into Windows. And I think I finally got a boot menu, and it's like, oh cool, it lists them both there. It's like, oh, here's your Pop! OS Linux, and then here's your Windows. And I went, great, let me go select Windows. But when I select Windows and hit enter to boot to it, it just boots into Linux anyways. So now I don't know what's going on there. So working on dual booting, not sure what's happening yet. I am getting a bit of a crash course.
Dual booting is cool. My question is, will it run Crysis?
Well, so far, probably not.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, I think Last Epoch's the most graphic intensive game I've tried on this so far.
Okay.
I haven't actually tried Dragon Age Veilguard on it yet.
I bet Crysis is not as intense as
it's
Last
not
Epoch
what it used to
at
be.
this point.
Yeah.
It just used to be the thing.
Also, I think Last Epoch has some pretty massive optimization issues.
It does.
Go to the center of Night City and tell me how many frames you get.
You guys know what time it is?
And
We've
now it's
already
already
done this.
spoiled it, yeah.
Boom!
Bipple.
I don't even want to do it.
Though.
Why, Bipple?
Why, Pip?
Why, Bipple? Why?
Get out of
Why,
here.
Pip?
All right, let's start with some group games because there are several here, one of which a couple cast members have put 100+ hours in since its drop. Marvel Rivals. You guys want to talk about this game? You played a little bit, right? Chat, Alex?
Played a little bit.
Played a lot of Rivals. I love
You don't sound
this
that
game.
excited about it.
Yeah, you sound like you hate it.
No, I do not. I love it. I don't.
Are you upset that you love it?
It's so good. I don't understand how they pulled it off.
Oh, I
Honestly,
thought you were going to
because
say
it's
how
like,
Overwatch messed it up so bad.
well,
Well,
that too. But you know
That
what?
helps.
I uninstalled Overwatch 2.
Yes, finally.
Whoa.
I was
That means
like,
I can uninstall Overwatch.
Yeah, same. Heck
I
yeah.
like. The other day, I was cleaning out my Steam
looks
drive.
like
I
he's
needed
doing it
space,
right now.
and I was looking at games that were taking up space, and I was like, "Do I need Overwatch 2 anymore? I have Rivals."
That's crazy. I actually can't believe you just said
I know.
Yeah,
It's
that's
nuts. It's just so fun.
I will
I don't
say, I feel similar about the Overwatch Marvel Rivals like comparison. Like in Overwatch, I only like DPS, somewhat healer. In
Mhm.
Rivals, I like all of the classes. It
They're
doesn't
all fun.
matter what I'm playing. I am having fun. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It helps that it released with characters in all of the different sections that are fun. I think Overwatch released maybe not all of the healers were. Most of the healers weren't fun.
You don't think Mercy was fun?
No, I don't think so at
Yeah.
all.
Why would you want to do anything other than left click? I don't.
Hmm?
Whereas
What was
most of the healers in
original?
Rivals are
It
just
was
fun.
Mercy, Lucio, Symmetra,
Zenyatta.
Zenyatta. Yep. It was Symmetra though. Original
Yeah,
Symmetra.
Symmetra.
Yeah. We don't know about that.
Not even a healer. I just think it's very impressive what the development team has done in terms of just like it really does feel like they looked at Overwatch and a lot of the complaints that people have with it and have targeted a lot of that specifically. Like
Mhm.
hero bans, I know I've just started getting into using them because me and Chad have been playing through Diamond, but like it's crazy how it changes the meta and stuff. And I know a lot of people that are high up think it's like one of the greatest things that's been added to the style of game.
I mean, I think it just makes sense. Like, a game like this is never going to be perfectly balanced. There's always going to be things that are different, especially when you get to high level. Some characters are just going to be uneven. So just having the ability to be like, you know what? I don't want to play against a Hela. Hela's
Yep.
crazy busted. Just get her out of here. Not only does that mean you don't have to play against Hela, but suddenly someone like Iron Man, who flies and gets absolutely dominated by Hela, suddenly Iron Man's looking pretty freaking good if Hela's not in the game.
I think that's what gave Dota 2 such longevity is the ability to ban out heroes.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah. I would say League has the same thing.
Mhm.
It does.
I-
And everyone
I-
hates that game.
Well,
Uh,
the tactical bans I think is a good feature in most multiplayer games. It adds more complexity.
I also we sort of alluded to this, but bans don't exist below diamond rank. So if you're just a scrub getting in there, you don't have to worry about, oh, I only know how to play one character. You're fine until you get like sufficiently good at the game before you even are like forced to cross that road.
What a good
It's
choice.
a good idea, dude. Because it's like, if you're like, oh, I'm just going to abuse, let's say I'm using Hela all the time, but let's say, oh, I'm just going to be really good at Hela. You can abuse that until you hit diamond, and then it's like, okay,
It's like, oh, now you
need
have to
like...
actually be good.
Exactly. Like, I
was
think
talking to Alex about this, and because we've been going through the ranks and stuff like that, I think bronze, silver, maybe gold would be fine for no bans. But like once getting into plat, it's like I think it needs bans like early.
Oh, yeah.
Like we finally got to diamond, and like the bans actually feel good in my opinion. Like it actually like we don't have to deal with the Hela Hawkeye. We don't have to deal with they're banning Bruce quite often right now, which
That's
is
funny.
weird because you think they would. Alex has already said this multiple times. You'd think they would just ban Iron Man,
Yeah.
but I
Right.
guess they are banning Bruce because Bruce is annoying. Like I don't.
Yeah.
People have kind of figured him out, I guess, and good Hulk players are actually like kind of a menace. That's the other really cool thing about this game is there's been 2 or 3 times that people have been like, yeah, this character is utter garbage. This tier list is set up this way. This character is an F tier. And then all of a sudden, like a couple weeks later, somebody's like, actually, this is how you play this character. And then everybody's like, holy crap, this character's OP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually feel that way about Storm a little bit right now because I saw a video just recently, and I think everybody's been playing Storm very incorrectly. She's actually a right behind the tank brawler, very low to the ground. She can shoot through your tank, and it like bounces through the enemies and like does like kind of like a blast damage, kind of like Bucky. And then you use your ultimate to get rid of the healers because you basically, as you use it, you just go behind them and then come forward, kill the healers, and then you use your E ability that shocks everybody who's there when the healers aren't there. And so you're basically just doing a bunch of burst damage like all the time. And then while like within that kind of series, but then the entire time you're just brawling, you're just building up your super. And I had like a lot of kills with that earlier. And people were like, who wakes up and plays Storm?
I mean, you talked about Iron Man. Iron Man was one that everybody put really low originally, and now he's like super busted.
Yeah.
Wolverine is the other one that I was
yeah,
thinking
that's the
of
big
that
one.
everybody thought was the worst character in the game.
That's because he does like no damage unless you're attacking a tank.
Turns out he's a tank buster and can just snatch your tank out of the front line
You know,
and just murder them.
it might be helpful to have information like that in the game client.
Nah,
Like
good
that he
web
just
page.
does percent
Yeah.
health damage.
That
That'd
doesn't
be
make
useful
it-
information
that makes
for that
no
character.
sense.
I don't like that on early release. I like the discovery of that
Yeah.
as people are playing the game. I know that sounds stupid and it's probably annoying, but the discovery of it keeps it really fresh. If everybody can go, my issue when it gets to very like meta-ized, where you can really just sort of dive into the data and min-max everything, the game gets boring to me. I love it. There's something just new, some change up that wasn't anticipated.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the other thing is just like how fast they're doing. So like between beta and release, they added 10 characters to the game. They launched with 33 characters.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Like original Overwatch, I just looked it up, started with 21.
Yeah.
My only
And they're
complaint
already-
there is that most of them are DPS.
Yeah.
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 But I mean, DPS is always going to be the
I-
most sought after role, right?
It is, but it feels like a significant margin of them are DPS.
Yeah, I
They-
mean,
Too-
you're
too
not
big
wrong.
of
There are more DPS than Vanguard and Strategist combined.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But being the role that most people want to play, it makes sense. I understand what they were thinking at least. And also, I mean, this is another thing. Like I originally was like, that's crazy. Also, not having role queue is crazy. All the games are just going to be like 5 DPS, and I'm going to be here like, I guess I'll try to heal everybody. I don't know. And it actually hasn't been like that at all.
Well,
For the
my
most part.
experience the other night was exactly that.
Oh,
It was
really?
me being a solo healer like every match for like
For
5 in a
player
row.
ranked.
Ugh. Yeah.
Because
Quick play
ranks
is
in the
quick
higher
play.
ranks, because people are wanting to succeed, they will kind of flex. Like earlier, I was on DPS and there was a healer, and I noticed that the healer was trying to play DPS Luna, like literally trying to like go around the corner to backline, and so he typed in the chat like DPS need to pick it up or switch off, and I'm like, then switch with me because you're terrible, like you're being a terrible healer. So I became the healer and we won both the next phases because like I kept my like actually played healer.
Yeah. There's actually been so many matches where we lose pretty bad on first point, and then somebody will just be like, all right, let's try to swap something. I don't know, I'll swap with somebody if they want to try a different role. And like 2 or 3 people will swap, and then all of a sudden we'll win. And that's just like not possible with role queue. And so I've come around on role queue where I thought it was pretty much required before, and now I'm like, I really like the flexibility that open queue provides. And
I would still like a flexible role queue.
Yeah,
or you could swap roles mid game as long as you keep.
Overwatch was doing some experiment. I don't know if they did it or not already. I didn't keep up, but they were doing an experiment where they had like a soft lock where you could have up to 3 of each role, and as long as one person was in a role at the time, you could swap off of it. So like,
interesting.
If 3 people insta lock DPS, then that's all the DPS you can get on the team, and then other people have to choose other things.
Yeah, I also really like the fact that you can run 1 tank, 3 DPS, 2 healers, because like that's actually viable.
It works a lot of times.
Yeah.
I mean, like 2 tanks, 1 DPS, 3 healers. That's been the thing a couple times. That's been pretty sick.
So I think it's so smart. Wolverine being a tank buster means we're probably not going to get goats.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It was, for anyone who doesn't know, goats was a party comp in Overwatch. That was 3 tanks, 3 supports.
Yeah.
You would just ball up and you would just no one would die because there was too much health and too much healing.
It was lame.
Yeah.
It sucked. Everyone hated it. It was a big turnoff for a lot of people.
I think Moon Knight is also a counter to that.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
If you group up, he just shreds everyone. It's brutal.
Anytime I see like them just sticking together really close, like I'll switch to Moonlight and I'll just get the healers picked off really quick.
Yep.
There's just a lot of interesting, really smart balancing decisions. Like Overwatch, you have Black Widow. She has to charge up her gun. She like looks down the sight, it charges up, and then whenever she gets to see somebody, she gets to headshot them. Hawkeye has a similar mechanic, except for his thing doesn't charge unless he is sighting on somebody. So he has to like track for a little bit, and then he can headshot.
That's cool. You can't just be sitting there with scope, not looking at anybody, and then the moment somebody peeks, do full damage.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you can. You could still like stare at the tank for a while and then just headshot somebody.
Sure, but that's way different.
It is different. Yeah.
It is at least something. Like,
yeah, it is something.
He's still like pretty oppressive, and he gets banned often.
Yeah, I hate him.
Yeah,
but
same.
It's a cool idea to try to get around some of that. The other one I can think of is like Mantis has a sleep, but when she sleeps somebody, there's the normal thing of if anybody does damage to them, they wake up. But in addition to that, she has like a little ghost version of herself that's like making sure they stay asleep. And the allied team can shoot the ghost to like wake up your teammate early.
All of times that has happened for me is 0. No teammates shoot that ghost.
Yeah, I've never seen it happen.
Is that in the text in game? Nope.
Why would it be, Caleb? It's so obvious that you can shoot the ghost.
Man,
yeah, so obvious you can shoot that ghost.
You know what's a cool thing I learned from the patch notes? Squirrel Girl's ultimate has health.
Yeah,
you can shoot the squirrels.
See that. It's there. It's always up when it's running at you.
Yeah.
What? There's always a health bar. Yes, always.
I never knew that the squirrels had health.
I think the health bar only appears if you shoot at it.
Which, why would I?
Right. Which probably now you would, because it's going to track you. So
yeah.
But they were like, we reduced the health on the squirrels, and I was like, what? The squirrels had health? What?
The squirrels had health, and they had too much of it.
Yeah, it was too high.
Well, I guess now that they've made it follow people, they wanted to make it you able to like kill it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just moved too fast and had too much health to kill it before.
Yeah, and also it missed 99% of the time.
It also
so
didn't
who gave
matter
a shit?
most
Yeah.
the only times that ever hit was if it came from behind you.
Yep.
I wonder if there's
You're
going to be.
like,
I wonder if the tech is going to be like shoot it directly at a wall next to you immediately, so that it starts tracking immediately.
Could be.
Probably not, because it probably only tracks the instant it hits a wall. It probably doesn't continue to track, right?
Man, I almost
it's
think
not
that'd
gonna
be.
follow you. I think.
Yeah, I think that would be bad tech because like a Punisher could just be like, "Oh, it's tracking me. Let me just shoot at it."
Yeah, maybe. The other thing I was gonna say is like, so they added 10 characters between beta and launch, and then in season 1, which is coming up here tomorrow, they're adding 2 more, 4 total for the season, but the other 2 aren't coming till halfway through the season.
Yeah. And it's the freaking Fantastic Four.
Fantastic
Having
Four.
the IP attached to it, I think, is also really cool.
Yeah,
Because you hear
Big
Overwatch
benefit.
is adding Hazard, and I'm like, okay, all right, wait. I don't feel like learning about that, like whatever that means. But they say, oh, they're adding the Fantastic Four. I'm like, oh, I know them.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay,
immediately
Human
know
Torch.
some of the things they're gonna do.
Yeah,
right?
right. I go, oh, Mr. Fantastic. That's weird, but okay, intriguing.
very cool.
However bad the filmography for that specific IP may be,
Yes,
is irrelevant.
I know the characters at least. I can guess what they're gonna do and get excited about it.
It is interesting that they're adding them now in January instead of
When the movie
like
comes
when
out,
the movie's
right?
coming out, which
That's
I
kind
think
of-
is this year, right?
I think so. It's that's what I expected.
Like
them
this
to do, 'cause
summer?
It got leaked a while ago that they were adding the Fantastic
Maybe
Four. And I
they
was like,
wanna-
oh yeah, for the movie.
Maybe they want to hype people up for the movie.
Maybe.
And there's
if
already
that's-
there's a bunch of other characters that are like in the files data mined already. Like you got Ultron, you got Blade, you got like a bunch of these characters that seem like they're close to ready.
Mhm.
Right.
Freaking Blade, dude.
I'm
You guys
wondering how
have
long
convinced
it's-
me to download it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm installing it
Death
right
Play.
now.
It's good. It's fun.
All right, so this leads me to my CCCP because we started talking about adding characters.
hmm
Which Marvel Rivals character, or which Marvel Universe character would you want to see in the Marvel Rivals?
Aquaman.
It's not even right.
Yeah.
No.
He said
Hey,
that
hey,
because
there was a
so-
crossover.
We were playing against Namor, somebody goes, "Kill that Aquaman."
I was like, good call
I mean,
out, I
that's
guess.
pretty funny. That's pretty good.
I feel like Aaron's gonna be like that guy that creates Pocket Universe.
Yeah.
No, I could.
Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Reed Richards.
I was gonna say,
Wait,
Madam
that's
Web.
not right. That's
Reed Richards is Mr.
Mr.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's not quite right. I think
How
his
would it
last name
play?
is Richards, though.
Oh, I think it is.
Mm.
Is
Wait, who? Mr. Fantastic's name?
No.
No. Okay.
No, there's
That
this
is Reed
X-Men
Richards.
guy.
is there a is Daredevil in the game?
No.
No.
He's not. That's a good one.
That could be
Would be a
fun.
good one. I genuinely, I think. Oh, I already forgot what I was going to say.
Franklin
Nice.
Richards.
Franklin
Maybe they-
Richards.
There we go. It's-
Honestly,
it's
they
Richards.
could
Is he
probably-
Reed Richards' son?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Never put that
he
together.
is Reed Richards' son.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, it's Reed Richardson.
All I know is, I mean, from his abilities, they could probably fool a few things here that would be not game breaking, like reality warping, matter and energy manipulation, energy projection, sonic abilities like telekinesis, telepathy, astral projection, precognition, teleportation, immortality, pocket universe creation. Yeah, any of those, really.
Yeah, I
Fine.
don't think he's gonna
Immortality.
make it.
I mean,
He's just
fair.
immortal.
Wolverine has
He just can't
immortality.
die.
what if they
More or
release
less.
Deadpool on April Fool's Day?
That
Yeah.
would be
That'd
great.
be good.
I think Deadpool's
Also-
a rumored character.
There's no way they don't add Deadpool. After
Oh, they
Deadpool and
absolutely
Wolverine,
add Deadpool.
he's in it.
Yeah.
And he'd be so easy. He uses guns.
Mhm.
Yep.
Don't even need to build his kit.
I think Nightcrawler would be rad.
Oh,
That'd be
that
cool,
probably
yeah.
would be.
That
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Because I bet they would do something with the amount of crazy stuff they let for movement already happen in the game, like
Mhm.
Spider-Man and just like infinite flying characters and all this stuff. I bet they would just have cool teleport tech,
Yeah.
like let you teleport through a wall. Like that would be cool.
Yeah. They should add Morbius.
Yeah,
Like, genuinely, I think that would be
I mean,
amazing. They should add all of the Sony
In this
characters.
next season, I feel like he should have come out because it's the vampire season.
Yeah, right? Ugh, they're saving him.
Yeah.
Black Bolt would be interesting.
Hmm.
I could
I
see
really
them
want
having some cool
some-
abilities.
I think they might surprise drop Blade like
Oh, that'd
sometime
be
in the
cool.
season.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Man, could you imagine Ant-Man and what tech they could use for him?
Oh,
Hmm.
I was thinking the other day about
that'd be tough.
Eh.
what do they call those? It's a Dota 2 character where they change it to be something like alternate. What is the word they use for that?
Persona.
Persona. I was thinking it would be cool if in the future this game was had the capability of doing personas and utilizing some of like the alternate Earth character versions of what those characters are, because there's so many options for the same character from different Earths. Even if you were to watch like What If, like there's an infinite number of possibilities that you could just kind of pull from because the IP is so enormous. It'd be really cool to see something like that. Probably really difficult to do, but
I was thinking earlier, I was like, oh, Miles Morales should be in here. I'm like, how do you differentiate Miles Morales and Spider-Man?
He'll have like
I think
electric
they've actually
stuff.
specified that if they put in Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen, they would be actual characters and not skins.
No skins.
Okay.
You see, it's
Does
very
that
easy.
imply that they could do skins like Aaron's talking about then, where they like reskin Captain America as what's her face?
Peggy Carter,
Yeah.
Captain.
Britain.
Yeah.
What is she actually called? Is it Captain Britain?
I don't know. It sucks, but it could be.
It's just Captain Carter. That's her name.
Captain Carter.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, that's probably the two options, right? Like, you could do a reskin, but you could also do, like, if you really wanted to go down a much different pathway, is making them have a different abilities based on their alternate persona.
Yeah.
I feel like Spider-Man and Miles Morales are the one that stick in my head because Miles has electricity powers, but he also swings around and punches people a lot, right?
Mhm.
So like, I don't know what the difference ends up being. You know what I mean? I feel like he ends up playing almost exactly the same as Spider-Man.
Probably.
I feel like they can make him a more mobile ranged character and less melee because of the electricity stuff.
I could see that.
So he can like throw an electricity bomb, he can like zap, he can like his ultimate is exploding the electricity out around him.
I could see it. It.
But also you would differentiate because one has the exaggerated swagger of
I'd need to see it in 24 frames.
Hear me out. I want to see them implement Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy and give him a passive that he turns invisible when he's not moving.
That would be so fun.
That would be very funny if they did that.
First of all, do you think they would add Drax as a damage or tank? I feel like he could be tank.
Tank, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like with Mr. Fantastic, we've been talking about this for so long, but with Mr. Fantastic, they've already sort of introduced the idea of like a hybrid almost, because he's almost like a Vanguard damage.
Well, here's the question I had maybe like, I don't know, 4 matches deep yesterday. I was playing Star-Lord, and he goes, oh man, Drax is missing out or something like that. Like, bad Drax isn't here. I'm like, does that just mean that he's not on the team, or does that mean that like he's not going to be in Rivals?
Yeah,
he's dead in
cut him out.
war.
They got it, man. Like, right? I remember thinking this the other. I was like, man, Drax and Gamora. What are we doing?
Yeah. Nebula.
Oh my god, Nebula would be so fun.
Let's get Nova Corp's Nebula from What If. That's what I want.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have seen this clip. Tim the Tatman was talking about Thanos being added to the game. And if he gets added, his ultimate should be the Thanos snap.
Yeah.
But the thing is 50% of the lobby.
So
that would be so cool.
It could be
Actually,
just your team.
It could be your team is dead, and then like their team's killing you now,
Entirely
I
random.
don't like
or
that.
it could be like the
I was
tanks
thinking
on their team.
50% of both teams. Just boom.
That sucks too.
No,
Too
just
even-handed.
50% of the lobby.
Yeah, I love that.
It could even be
Pointless.
Thanos
It's either
himself.
amazing,
That's
it
just a
could be
bad
terrible.
ult. Is the problem.
Yeah,
just a
it
battle.
Maybe just go one step further. 50% of players.
Anyone
You're in a
has
game,
50%
there's
of
no-
existing-
Every player in
50% of
every
alive
lobby.
players.
Yeah,
It could be
50%
cool.
of them die.
It could be cool if it was 50% of each team, but though it was randomized who was picked. That wouldn't be like a bad ult. Like if it were just purely
there's no
50% of people.
counterplay.
Yeah.
Right? There's no like,
nothing
oh,
there.
I'm gonna dodge it. I'm gonna play around it. It's just like, oh, Whoops, he pushed
realistically,
his
it's
go
probably
button.
just be 50% of everybody's health.
All right, so the counterplay is he goes, "I am inevitable," and while he's saying "I am inevitable" and snapping, you're
Sure,
able to
he's
kill
gotta
him.
Channel it. Yeah.
Ooh, what if he says I'm an inevitable, holds his hand up as part of the ult, and there's during that warm up, if you hit like a breakpoint on his arm, you can chop his arm off and it cancels the ult.
Ooh.
There you
That's
go,
impossible to chop his arm off. Get out of here.
Or if you're playing Iron Man, you have a button if you can hit it
Just
fast
steal it.
enough.
And if you're playing Ant-Man, then you can like disappear into the quantum realm for a second.
Mhm.
All right,
You
so
get
my,
small and you go up his butt, and then you get big.
my answer for that question that I asked earlier is
Yes.
This is
actually
Dragon Ball.
Gambit.
Proposition.
Gambit.
I feel like Gambit would be
Gambit.
a
Yeah,
really
would be
cool.
cool.
Gambit
That
would
would
be
be
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
Throwing
That'd be an
cards.
easy one to do, too. Yeah, throwing cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Based on Channing Tatum's likeness.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
yeah,
gosh.
so you can throw cards. There's other
Terrible
and
French
you can
accent.
mess with his other abilities too. But isn't Gambit, as much as he always throws cards, isn't his mutant power is he can like affect like kinetic energy or something like that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you could do other stuff with like dashes or things like that. I bet.
Sure.
What about a Quicksilver?
Yeah, I was thinking Quicksilver earlier. That'd be
Oh,
hard
that'd
to
be
do,
fun.
I think.
They have
I was
no,
wondering-
no speedsters
Yeah.
right
It's
now.
Because how do you do a speed?
Oh,
stick?
Yeah,
man.
how do you do it without
I mean,
it
you
being,
just
I thought-
wouldn't
you say-
without wanting to vomit immediately?
What do you mean there's no speedsters? Have you played Captain America?
Also, you just
Audio
build a
lab.
speedster. You just build a speedster like Tracer.
Sure.
I feel
True.
like.
Yeah.
Lots
Well,
of
actually,
quick
in Marvel, the
dashes.
speedsters can't time travel, so the ult would be weird.
You know what I think you
Um,
do? I think you just make everyone else in the lobby move at half speed.
But you give Cable, Tracer's ult, or a bit. Not ult. Sorry, Cable Tracer's
recall.
ability to like go back in
Recall.
time for a
They
second.
already have recall in it.
That's
Oh, okay.
true.
Kind of. They don't get
It's a
health
team
back.
up ability. We haven't talked about the team abilities, but I think they're also super cool.
Yeah.
I
they're
think
fun.
I think Ghost Rider. Nick Cage's Ghost Rider.
No.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, dude. And you get the motorcycle
Yeah,
for your
dude.
ult, and you ride
Yes.
That'd be
around.
sick.
Yes.
That'd be great.
That'd be
Yes.
sick.
I've been thinking this whole time, like, what would be a really strange addition? Ghost Rider.
Mhm.
Yep.
A speedster ult where everybody else slows down to half speed, but you get to move normally would be cool.
That could be interesting.
Oh, that'd be so annoying for everyone who's
Yes.
not the speedster.
It'd
is
be
the
so
problem.
annoying.
Oh boy.
So you guys are
it could
enjoying
be
this game,
short.
it
It
sounds
could be
like.
like 4 seconds.
Yes, it's quite good.
Green Goblin.
Pretty good.
Green Goblin.
Yeah, the team ups do a lot to shake up meta and who's picking also. Like we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier, me and Chad have been locking Adam and Star-Lord, and that's been convincing a lot of people to pick up Mantis with us just because those 3 characters have a team up
Sure.
that lets you revive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And like the whole thing with like Iron Man got super busted because people started playing Hulk and realizing that the team up with Hulk and Iron Man's super good.
So good. It's too strong.
What
Not
does
as
the
good as
team
the-
up do?
It just makes him more powerful when he uses his E, when Iron Man
Yeah.
uses his E, which
So-
powers up his other moves.
Iron Man
Which
has a
makes
big
his laser
big
beam.
laser,
Yeah.
and when Hulk's on the team, the laser does absurd damage.
Yeah.
Like you can
It's-
melt squishies in like a second. It's
Wait,
crazy.
What is the in-world
He's pumping full of
reason
gamma
for-
energy.
Gives
Gamma?
them gamma
Okay.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's
Okay.
one of the more boring team ups because most of the team
It
ups
is.
give an extra ability. Like it's
Yeah.
really good, but it's kind of boring.
Well, I think the point that everybody just left out, which is kind of the most important on why it makes him really good, is he has infinite ammo while that thing is going. So you don't have to reload. So you can just laser. Oh, finally it's done. Okay, let me move away.
Wow.
Got a
Yeah.
decent hitbox on it, too.
It's,
Oh yeah,
it's
it's
so
so
good.
long too. Like holy
It's
crap.
so long. No, that makes no sense.
And like hella Hawkeye were super dominant until people started getting to ban them in ranked. And like the bans enabled people to discover that Iron Man was busted because if you played with good people with Iron Man below those ranks, then Hella would just like tap him out of the sky real quick.
Yep. It's
So
turns out bans are really good. Do you remember when Overwatch would ban people, but it wasn't like you got to pick Overwatch
No,
picks.
that's what they decided
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah,
They
I
were
forgot
just
about
like,
that.
sorry, Sombra and Soldier and Widow are banned this week. Sorry, guys.
Like a third of their players are like, well, I'm not playing this week.
Yeah.
We're
It's
like,
just like,
this,
what do you
this
mean?
week we
Mix up the
banned all the
meta.
good hit scans, so Farah is unstoppable.
What a
Yeah.
Turns
fucking
out.
stupid idea. Like, what?
Really dumb.
It's meta mixing. That's
so
wild.
wild.
Yeah, the meta became don't play this week.
Yeah, like genuinely.
Yeah. What else in Group Wabipple?
There's a little Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide.
Can you call it 40,000? That seems wrong.
40K. I mean, it's
Technically
written.
accurate.
It's
I
written as
know.
40,000.
I know how it's written, but man, that seems really taboo to say it that way.
I mean, if there was a TM in there, or an R, or something, like I would probably said that as well.
Are you certain there's not actually a TM or R anywhere in this
It
title?
probably is.
I don't believe so.
It probably is.
Oh, you know what? It does not appear there is.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy tough.
Considering how many TMs, Rs, and anything else
Yeah.
is in Call of Duty when you go look up any one
Yeah.
of those titles.
Well, also, you go look up Star Wars if you want to get really frustrated. Look up Star Wars, and
Oh,
you'll see the
man.
TM move.
Yeah.
Anyways, Warhammer. Frank had off for, I guess, 16 days or something like that. Wild time. So after I got back from the in-laws, I hit him up, and I guess when I was away from computers, he suggested to Caleb and Alex that we play Warhammer. So then I started looking through my Humble bundle because they were like, "Yo, it's on Humble," and figured that my credit card had fraud on it, and a while ago, and I never switched my credit card, so like I don't own Warhammer. So yay, Steam family! Thank you, Jake. So we played
Incredible.
this.
Can't return that now.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fun game. I know we played back in the beta, and Alex made a comment way back then.
It was rough.
It was rough. There was just basically all melee. You could kind of use a gun. This actually played pretty well. You had like some cool guns that you could explore. The unlocks seemed pretty quick. You dive into a level, and you can up the difficulty. And, you're executing a mission. You're just basically trying to survive, finding health packs, and killing waves. Basically just like Vermintide, but Darktide. Spacey. So you're sticking together with your multi-classed, decked out party. You got some good melees that you can do. You got, like I said, the weapons that you choose. I was using it seemed like a DMR for a little bit there. So I was like tap firing, make sure I got like the headshots and stuff like that. I think what was Frank using? He had like some sort of nail gun shotgun thing or something.
I don't know.
He had a bolter
Yeah.
at one point that he was
Bolter.
really into.
Okay, well, he was into the bolter.
I just had a cannon.
Yeah. So I don't know what everybody else's abilities were. My ability, once I hit it, made me run forward, and then as soon as I struck anybody with a melee, I got 50 toughness back. So you have a health bar and a shield bar. Shield bar is toughness. So that was cool. Did more damage. And then if you're standing next to your teammates, you get toughness back as well. So it's kind of making you kind of stick together instead of one person running off.
This is like a
some cool team
shield
mechanics.
Yeah.
that prevents you from taking health damage until it runs out.
Yeah, so there's some cool things in that. Like you throw down an armor pack, and you can use it pretty much until it runs out. You throw down a health pack thing, that thing will stay on the ground. It's on a timer, it seems, or maybe it's on
it's
an amount.
Oh, it could be an amount. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, but it's quite a bit. And so you basically, like, if you're about to be in a room that you kind of know that's going to be like brawly and lots of ads coming at you, you have to defend. You throw that med pack down there. So it's kind of like just resource management while you're just going through the level, just kind of getting to the different doors to keep going through, and then finally at the end, just getting to the extraction and getting out of there.
Yeah, I don't know specifics of what all they've changed, but they've done a lot of work on the game, I know, since it's released, and it
Yeah, I mean, when it came out, it
feels-
had no character progression like at all, right?
yeah, like there's huge skill trees now on the different classes that seem like
I
they
wouldn't call them
significantly.
Huge.
I mean,
They're pretty minimal.
they're
but
pretty
they are,
hefty.
Some cool looking skill
I'm-
trees.
I am underwhelmed by the skill trees.
They seem like they significantly affect your playstyle, at least on my class.
Yeah, not so much on mine, I feel like.
Well, you're what, Barth?
Yeah.
Barth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, mine, I could go basically into the range damage tree, or I could go into the melee damage tree, and that's pretty much it. I don't know how y'all's kind of worked. But like one of them was like get health back from getting crit hits with ranged, or do more damage with crit hits from range. And then the other ones were like get toughness back when you melee, or when you get a kill, or you could cleave more, or stuff like that.
I had a lot of similar stuff, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Psyker abilities are vastly different. Like I can go.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of the different stuff you use, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like I can go high single target damage that like goes through armor and stuff like that. So like when big boys come out, I get to focus them or whatever. Or I can go like weird force lightning that will hold in place like hordes of dudes, and the rest of you guys get to kind of hack through them at that point. Or I have like weird crystals that will auto target heads of people that I'm just tossing out left and right. That's kind of seems like a hybrid style where it's like high damage but to more than one person, but not like huge hordes. I don't know. It seems like they've done good work on that game, and it's quite fun, I think, at this point.
I'm surprised it's not where it's at now when it came out, since Vermintide 2 existed.
Yeah,
Right.
True.
Fun game.
Yeah, it is fun.
It nails the atmosphere.
It does.
Oh yeah. There was a moment when the mission first started, we all kind of walked in, and then I like started hearing electricity, so I kind of looked up back behind, and then all of us just kind of looked up because the electricity was just like rising through, and it looked so nuts.
Massive Warhammer ship architecture, and
Dude. Do you get all the like mouse over prompts to give you extra information about things in game?
they talk about a bunch of stuff, but they don't give you context.
I've skipped every single cutscene. I have no idea what's happening in the story, and I don't think I would know anything,
heathen.
even if I watched the cutscenes.
You gotta serve the Emperor. You gotta prove that you're a good, loyal servant to the Emperor.
All right, great, thanks. All right, I'm gonna go kill stuff. Lots of stuff. Mow them down.
Yeah, that's about it.
What about Echo Point Nova? You guys played that also?
All right, so full transparency, the reason my list is blank is because all three of these are what I've been playing.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So, Echo Point Nova is something that Caleb, Alex, and I started playing. It is a basically movement shooter, and it's just kind of arena based.
First-person shooter.
Open world first-person shooter. Can explore everywhere. You have a hoverboard at co-op. You have a hoverboard that makes you go super quick.
So fast.
You have after, of course, grabbing agility orbs, you have like double, triple, quad jump, grapple hooks that you can you get the grapple hook early, but then there's like different additions that can happen. So you can basically start just moving like everywhere. As long as you're hoverboarding, if you touch a surface, your jumps get reset. You can basically climb the surface with your jumps. You can grind on it to reload. That's another agility orb, unlock. And then it's just like rapid pace, just action shooting, kill the 70 enemies that are in this combat that you started.
Never have you experienced such freedom of movement in a shooter.
Yeah. I mean, you can launch yourself into the sky, and then you can turn all the way upside down, start shooting people, and just have no control over your character anymore because it's so confusing because you're upside down. But it's fun. It's cool.
Like technically there is gravity in the game, but you can pretty much fly if you know what you're doing and you chain together all your moves. You don't really have to ever touch the ground.
Pretty great.
It is so pure, so much pure fun and joy. Last time we played, I told the boys like my cheeks start to hurt after a while playing this game because I'm just grinning the entire time because it's so ridiculous and so much fun.
It is absurd.
Pretty good. There's like little flags on the map, and they're red at first, and then you get to that location, and it turns white, and then it tells you like there's this many agility orbs, this item, and so we've been kind of exploring those, turning them all green, so that we're getting like full completion.
Just
There's
clearing
like
the entire land.
Yeah, there's like boss fights. Also you
yeah.
get like a sledgehammer, so that like any of the areas that you're like on, you could just like dig through. So you could just like make a hole somewhere. And,
Not
like,
even the ground can stop you from moving.
Yeah.
There's a great boss fight that if Alex is on your team, he doesn't even assist with. He just watches you do
my
the entire
gosh.
thing.
Yeah.
I never caught up. You guys killed it too fast. The bosses are like massive creatures that have a bunch of weak points all over them, and you basically like grapple and fly around them and shoot their different weak points.
It's like Shadow of the Colossus if you took LSD and had your settings turned all the way up, or no clip mode on to where you could just like fly around.
And we keep on finding new perks that give us new abilities.
Okay,
Well, we were
keep
just
finding-
complaining about perks.
Yeah,
And then we found like so many so fast.
Like one of the recent ones we got is wherever our grapple connects to, it just explodes. So you can start grappling the enemies and it blows them up.
That's
Why-
Also discovered some sick grapple tech related
what-
to enemies.
My favorite is running into an enemy, and so it knocks him off the map, but then you grapple to that enemy, and because you've grappled to that enemy, it's pulling you to the quote-unquote source of where you grappled, and the enemy just keeps flying, so you're just like moving with it.
Launch across the map.
Free airplane.
Heck yeah.
That's good stuff.
It ramps up the difficulty pretty much too. Like we get to parts in the map now where it's like all lava,
Yeah.
and you just can't touch the ground anywhere. You're gonna take damage.
Yeah, you have like a special ability that cools down over time, but you can like throw ice on the lava so you can land on that spot. But then it's all slick because it's ice. So you gotta kind of be careful.
One hilarious thing about the ice ability and your hoverboard and the agility perks that you get is if you find a dome room and you throw the ice on it like all in a circle and you start going really fast in a circle, it keeps like triggering the ice for your hoverboard, and it does this like nice spark effect.
It makes
Then
it
for some
impossible to
reason,
see.
It happens to your friends' hoverboards too.
For some reason,
So-
it happens to everybody's board at the same time.
So if you
Even
have
though
one person in that
person's
room
doing it.
doing the circle, the other two people are just trying to explore, and they're like, I can't see like what's happening.
Plus, they give you a speedometer, so we spent a while trying to get as fast as we possibly could in a circular room.
We get to like 450, is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
Wild.
That's fun.
Excellent game.
Alex, we're going to continue with you. What else have you been playing?
Yeah, last time we actually did a podcast, I talked about finishing Inquisition, I think, and then I started playing Veilguard, and I just wanted to mention that I think Veilguard's pretty good. I also, if I had to choose 5 games to be on a quote-unquote Game of the Year list, I don't think it would be in my top 5. But that doesn't mean I dislike it. I think I'm having a good time with it. But, I'm not upset that I played through all the Dragon Age games to start playing this one.
Well, we're all still upset you did.
But also, it's not quite. I mean, it's no Dragon Age Origins,
Did you finish Inquisition?
Yeah. Yep. And the Trespasser DLC
Good.
or whatever.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Trespasser is wild that it's not part of the base game
It is kind of crazy.
because it's the ending of Inquisition.
Yeah. I ended up quite liking the Inquisition story and characters and all that kind of stuff. I have a lot of problems with how that game plays and how it tries to be a single player MMO and suck all your time down a drain.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
a lot of mods help with that. And I quite enjoyed my experience after making a bunch of changes to help with that.
Yeah, that's fair. What are you playing in Veilguard? Like what class?
Mage.
Mage.
Yeah.
How's that been?
Mage is great.
Oh yeah. Okay. I wasn't
It's
sure.
fun.
I was very leery because it seemed like they were really leaning into like being like God of War, like the new God of War. So I was like, I don't know if they're gonna nail the mage combat or not.
Mage is great.
Yeah, I
Oh,
went
Combat's
Warrior,
blast.
I think is what the melee one is. I've been
Mhm.
having pretty good time with that.
Well, I went Rogue, so I went the cool one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mage is pretty freaking cool.
I've
The-
heard a lot of people say Mage is really fun in that game.
The like dagger and orb
Yes,
combat with the mage kind of feels very roguish in my opinion.
it
Oh,
does.
Yeah. And you still get like spells and stuff, so you know.
Mhm.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and then the other thing I mentioned before, I've been playing Rebirth. Really, all I wanted to talk about in Rebirth was
that it sucks.
how crazy the pro is, and to make that such a better experience, I think. But that's about it for me.
I was very excited that I bought the Pro after some of the announcements that PlayStation releasing. Wasn't it like a Sony press conference or something that we watched? What did we watch?
Game Awards.
Game Awards. There we go.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's a couple of announcements where I'm like, man, I'm glad I got the Pro now.
Yeah.
New Naughty Dog game. That should be great.
Yeah.
Whenever it comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the real question.
But I assume- Witcher
Oh,
would
sorry.
be released on console only.
Witcher?
You would think that would be PlayStation first, right?
I bet it comes out on everything at the same time.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk did.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
True.
Ben, what have you been playing?
I've been trying to, well, in addition to new games, I've been trying to hit a couple of the stuff I know you guys were probably nominating for Game of the Year. So I played some Tactical Breach Wizards.
Heck yeah.
It is really, really fun.
hmm
I like the game a lot. I think the dialogue is hilarious.
So
I
good.
absolutely
Mhm.
love the dialogue. My biggest complaint about it is that I can't play it too much because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to games. So what happens is as soon as they were
No,
like,
no.
"Oh, here's these optional like challenges you can do to complete," I just
Yeah.
went, "Cool, great! I can't progress the game until I've completed all the optional challenges." And then I got stuck on a mission, and I would just haven't played it since then.
Even that thing that's like, hey, you can come back and do these later
It
when you're more
specifies,
powerful.
You can come back. Don't worry about it. I'm like, no.
I do it
You
now.
also
There are
You
multiple I
can
skipped,
do
and I was
them.
like, I'll just come back later.
you can't do them one by one. So like if a mission has like 3, you can do 1 per playthrough.
I did realize
Just play
that.
it 3 times, which makes it a
that's
lot
good to know.
easier.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So that I'm loving. I'm not going to go into that too much since we've talked about it before. I picked up a game called Ale and Tail Tavern, which is it's like a co-op like tavern running game. It's interesting. It's first person. It reminds me a little bit of like not Overcooked. What's the other one? Played Up.
Oh.
Not in the upgrades necessarily, but like there's a lot of like while your tavern's open, you're kind of running around like people are coming in, they have orders, you got to get the orders to them. You're also trying to like cook at the same time in the back and like keep up your plates and stuff. I don't think it's not.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Linux.
What a terrible time.
Oh,
to lose.
no.
Good old Linux.
All right, so let's summarize what we think he was going to say.
I think he was going to say it's not very good. I think that was the last word.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, you
That-
can kind of
that
pause.
makes
Not
sense.
very good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Green. There's not a lot of green in it.
No, green. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
True. Huh. Well, you know what? I guess while we're waiting on Ben to come back, I'll go ahead and go. So we're not wasting time here.
What is happening in our...
I don't know. Looks like Ben's just hitting enter a lot.
Oh no.
Hilarious.
Oh, there it goes. It's
I mean, in Linux, that's what you do when something's going wrong.
yep.
Hit
True.
enter on that command line.
That's right. me back to me, whatever that means.
You know, I mean,
Anyway, I've been playing one game basically, and that is Stalker.
Yeah.
Man, I freaking love this game. I have put about 60 hours in it.
What is Stalker? Never heard of that game.
Mm-hmm.
all right, Stalker.
Sorry, my bad.
Oh. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, part of Chernobyl.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Man, I don't know what I've talked about this game multiple times. I love this game, especially after they fixed A Life. The world feels busy. I'm constantly in combat unless I'm
Constantly in combat.
yes, trying to stay out of it. I love hunting for artifacts. There's good variety. The story is wild, just like it was in the first 2 Stalker games. Yeah, I don't know. This game looks beautiful too. The day-night cycle I wish was a little bit longer, but dusk time is just
Nice.
yeah. Has anybody else played this at all besides Caleb and Chad playing like right at the very beginning and then
I realized
stopping?
that I had it installed not on an SSD, so that was
You
probably
have-
some of
You
my
have
problems.
this problem a lot. You should just get rid of all of your
Oh,
non-SSDs.
they're out of my computer now.
Okay, all right.
Nice.
I have just M2s, so
Good.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Ben.
You had said that you
adventure.
didn't have many issues with bugs.
I'm very, very little.
Yeah.
Very lucky
Yeah.
man.
I had the one thing that I had an issue with, kind of, and it wasn't all the time, was enemies respawning at points where I was already at and I'd already killed them. So, like there's this base towards the beginning and you have to kind of invade it. And I killed like 6 of the guys, and then I'm walking around, and then all of a sudden there's just 6 new dudes that spawn in the exact same spot or like similar spots to where they were before, and they instantly start shooting at me. I had to figure my way out of that one, but they've fixed almost all of those like enemy spawning in bugs. They've fixed like the infinite spawn bug, which is the same dude spawning on himself over and over and over and over and over and over. I have had very few issues with this game. So I don't know. Yeah, I think other people need to give it a go and let me know what you think, because I'm obviously very, very biased. Stalker, sorry, STALKER, the original was
that's what
not
we're
even a
talking
true
about.
Yes.
fan.
What's
was,
it? What's that stand for?
What's it stand for?
No one's ever asked that.
I
I
don't
assume
know.
it's an abbreviation.
I actually don't know.
The S better stand for stalker.
Yeah.
I sure hope it does.
No, the S stands for STALKER.
Oh.
No, infinite
Recursive.
It
recursion.
stands for talker.
Yes. Talker. Anyway, not much else to say
The
about
A
this game
stands for Alker.
other than it's going to make my game of the year list.
Scavengers.
Is not my game of the year, but it is definitely one of my favorite games I've played this year.
There's trivia for this actually. It's
Oh, there's
scavengers, trespassers, adventurers, loners, killers, explorers, and robbers.
Wow.
That's horrible.
That's terrible.
That's so bad.
really
I'm
bad.
Yeah, I don't like that I know that.
I wish
now.
you'd have not shared.
Yeah.
Sure, it's
Game's
still
no longer
game
on
of
the
the
game
year,
of the year
Aaron?
list. Yeah.
Yeah. Take it
Taken
off.
off now.
Yeah.
I do want to play some more of it. I just had a lot of issues.
Yeah,
running
yeah,
it.
no, I understand. There were a lot of issues when it came out. The one thing I will say about this game that I do not like is that its transaction with vendors is very similar to buying and selling things in Starfinder World.
Oh.
God.
Oh, bro. You're like, you go up to a vendor, you're like, I need to repair this pistol that I've shot 12 times. You're like, all right, that's $12,000. Okay, well, how about I just sell it to you? Yeah, I'll buy it from you for $2,000. No, wait a second.
Well,
What?
I mean that's only logical. They're gonna have to do the other 10K to,
Yeah, fix
repair
it up
the
themselves.
weapon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that would make sense, except that I can sell 100% durability weapons to them, and when I try to buy them back, they're like literally 10 times the cost is what I sold it
Nice.
for.
Man, that must be so rough.
Yeah,
Yikes.
Don't
Yeah.
misclick
it's tough.
Yeah.
or save before you vendor.
Yeah, I save all the time. in that game.
Always.
All the time. Caleb, how about you? Or actually, should we go back to Ben? Since Ben
Yeah,
got cut
sure.
off?
Ben.
Yeah.
Back
Keep
to Ben.
going. Try this again. So I think I left off talking about Ale and Tail Tavern. So
hmm
You said it's
serving
not
food
very
in
and
the
then you
tavern.
stopped.
So that it's not very. I don't know. I'll just keep talking because I don't know where I cut off. So it's serving food to people who come into the tavern, and you make money and also experience that way. There's not really like repercussions for like screwing up a ton, other than they get angry and leave. And I think there's a tavern rating that like can lower that makes people like your tavern less. Where it's a little more interesting is you can close the tavern and then it's kind of open. There's an open world where there's a quest board in the front of your tavern. You can pick up quests to go fight enemies with gear and stuff. There's like zombies, and then there's monsters and bandits and things like that. There's also delivery quests where you go out, you like bring food and stuff. You're basically Uber Eats. So you bring food and beer sometimes to people out in the woods. Supposedly, I haven't explored too much, but supposedly there's like cool stuff you can find in the wilderness. Then you can level up your tavern to unlock more stuff. It's been fun from a co-op perspective. Liz and I have been playing it together. I will say the graphics are quite awful for it. Like, I literally at one point I tabbed out to check it. I was like, this is early access, right? And I looked, I'm like, oh no, it's just a full game. Interesting. That's they released that. Okay. But the gameplay's pretty fun. I enjoy it. It's $15 on Steam. I'm pretty happy I got my money's worth. I think I got it on sale for like 50% off, and I'm happy with that. I don't know that I'd buy full price, but I'd say if you want something fun to just like mess around with some friends, it's a good game. I picked up Frostpunk 2.
Heck yeah.
I've been playing that. That game is
You picked
very
it up?
good.
You bought it?
No, I think I'm just playing one of your copies.
I
Good
was
man.
like, what?
But very fun. Definitely, it's been interesting to get my mind wrapped around. I'm very used to big games. I'm like, okay, like let me just like figure out how I can get the perfect end result. And I have to go into this game. It very quickly. It's just like, you can't. There's no.
Yeah.
You got to pick. Like you got to pick a direction, and
Yep.
you're gonna piss off someone. You can't make everybody happy. And I'm like, oh no.
No.
But that's been really fun and interesting. I've been enjoying that a lot. That's probably going to be on one of my nominees for Game of the Year.
Nice.
And then I played over the holidays. I played a heck of a lot of Deep Rock Survivor. Probably my favorite of the Vampire Survivor likes I've played like so far, and I've played quite a few of them. I really like the different weapons. They feel significantly different. The different classes you can start with, I feel, have different enough play styles. It's really interesting. I like that there's ways to permanent like gear leveling progression or unlocking new weapons and things on runs. It feels like even if I beat a run, like it feels different enough, or there's enough unlocks and things to do. Like I'm still excited to go do another run. Like, and there's enough variance in challenges or classes or weaponry that I have a lot of fun with it. The runs are not too long. Like for a Survivor game, like a full run start to finish is probably like, well, I don't know. Chad, you've been playing it too. What do you say, like 20 minutes for a full run start to finish?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah. Which especially on my Steam Deck, because I could just pause and then come back to it really easily.
Yeah.
Because you can pause and save out and then come back in the middle of a run, I think. And it was really nice over the holidays. Like I'd sit down on the couch, play like even if I only had like 5 or 6 minutes, I'd play some of it and then I'd pause it, come back later. If you like the Vampire Survivor like games, I highly recommend checking it out. It's really good. That one's also probably going to be on one of my Game of the Years because I am loving it.
As somebody who has fine-tuned their aim via mouse and keyboard, whenever I switch to like a handheld device or like controller and I'm playing a shooter, like it always drives me nuts that I'm just so bad at aiming. So this game, you don't have to aim, and I'm like, this is wonderful. Let me just go mine the rock. Let me just go over here. Like that's it. You could just one-hand it almost. Like it's such a great Steam Deck game.
It depends on what weapon you're using, because some of the weapons you do have to aim. It varied. Like they do the thing where some weapons, like there's some of the shotguns and some other stuff do like way more damage than the other ones, but they only deal damage in a cone in front of you. Right. So you have to bounce around it more.
The aim is just looking kind of more that direction. Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
You do have to like aim what way you're walking.
Isn't a chain gun also kind of like that from the gunner?
I think chain guns like that too. Engineer's interesting because he just drops turrets, and you kind of have to base around that. And That one it took me a while to get used to because you have to really plan like where you're walking and what you're doing because it only drops turrets when you stop moving.
I noticed that,
like,
yeah.
You kind of have to like find a spot, set up a few turrets, and clear out some enemies while you're mining, and then move on to the next spot. It's versus a lot of the other classes more like damage as you run. Engineer kind of has to do like damage here, then damage over here, then damage over here, and it's a very different play style. And then there's a lot of different maps, and like the maps come with different mechanics also. Like they have different environment effects that you have to worry about. Some of them have like, oh man, this stone is like way harder to mine through and it's slower. Some of them have like, there's lava on the ground you have to worry about running into. I highly recommend it if you like those sort of Vampire Survivor like games. It's really good.
Nice.
Also, if you just like Deep Rock, it's nice to play that style of game and not have to go into a first-person cam. And not, if you want to play it on handheld, it's good.
Actually, I never played regular Deep Rock. Always wanted to. Haven't got around to it. It's one of those I look at. I'm like, I just know I'm gonna want to play this co-op with some people. So
Yeah.
I'll get somebody to play it with me one of these days, and I never have.
Caleb.
I picked up and played through Void Rot, which was recommended by Aaron. Pretty good little Metroidvania, lots of movement abilities, really pretty art style. Definitely copping Hollow Knight on that art style.
Hmm.
Nothing wrong with that though. Some cool boss fights in that game. There are also some really frustrating boss fights in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most frustrating thing about that game is the difficulty curve. Because if you happen to not find the rooms that have the damage upgrade, you feel like you're stabbing things with a toothpick. But if you find at least 3 of them, it feels like you obliterate like everything in every area.
Yeah,
So-
it's almost like a inverse difficulty curve where everything starts out really, really, really hard, and then when you get to end game, especially if you've found a few things, I beat the final boss on like my second try, I think.
Yeah. Not too hard at the end.
Yeah.
Which, I don't want it to be like 9 Souls where the final boss is 90% harder than everything else in the game, but yeah. I also picked up SteamWorld Heist 2. This was on recommendation from the besties because they were talking about it a lot. It's really good. I bounced off of SteamWorld Heist 1. Didn't really get into it. I don't know why in particular. But man, SteamWorld Heist 2 is really, really good. Every character starts out as some sort of class, but they can play. The way you swap classes is by swapping weapons. So if you have a sniper rifle, you're a sniper. If you have a rocket launcher, you're a boomer. And you can, you
Nice.
can
It's funny.
swap around at any time for any mission and level up that other class. And then you get a number of cogs that you can spend on abilities from other classes you have leveled up, which means you can kind of mix and match however you want as long as you play them in a couple missions, which makes the characters really, really interesting to build. And they all have their own special ability as a character, or 2 special abilities that can kind of change how you decide you want to build them, which I thought was it's just really fun building those characters. The combat is also a blast. It's very much a kind of 2-dimensional XCOM almost, side scroller ish, but there's not like percentage chances to hit. You can see where your gun's aiming, and a lot of them have sway if they're not like a sniper rifle, and you just kind of have to aim at the enemy and shoot them. And if you don't happen to hit them, the bullets kind of ricochet around. They might fly into a barrel and explode it next to one of your guys or something. There's a lot of stuff going on in the environment that makes combat interesting, keeps it interesting. I really, really like it. I think Tactical Breach Wizards is all around better in most ways, but this I think comes very close in at least the combat and character. I don't want to say character building, class building.
Yeah.
The story and characters are much less interesting than Tactical Breach Wizards.
Dang. Take that, SteamWorld Heist 2.
Nah, it's a great game.
Get him. It sucks.
Should have come out in a different year.
You should have. Yeah.
Second best
You're right.
tactics game we've played this year.
Yeah.
Jake, last but not least.
Last but not least, the only thing I've been playing that has not already been talked about is Metaphor ReFantazio. I've been playing a decent amount of this, trying to catch up to Caleb. It's not gonna happen.
Oh wow.
But I tried.
I haven't played in like maybe
I
a
know.
month.
I kept thinking, I was like, oh, I gotta be close. And I would ask you, and it's like, no, I probably have like another 10 hours before I catch up. So
I think you're only one dungeon behind me now.
okay, fine. Maybe I
Close.
can do it.
It's
I
short
guess I
dungeon,
am
too.
close. Fine. Maybe I have a chance.
Any idea how
it's-
far from the end of the game you guys are?
Only a couple, like 300 or 400 hours, I assume.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be a 60-hour game.
I had heard 80.
Oh, is it 80?
Yeah.
Okay.
My statistics are all messed up. Because this is a game I keep. There have been times I'm like playing it and then something comes up and I leave and I come back like
Yeah.
2 hours later and I'm like, whoops,
Yeah.
whoopsies.
I
Anyways,
think I have around 55 hours in it.
okay, yeah.
Play it on a Steam Deck, and then the Steam Deck's like, you got 700 hours in this game.
It's either like you got 1 billion hours or didn't record any of those hours.
Yeah. But it's really, really good. I unlocked some new archetypes, which is like the class system that I find really, really interesting.
The
There's
good
one-
archetypes too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I guess I won't. Well, no one here's gonna fucking play him. Masked Singer is really fucking cool. If you care about the names of the archetypes and what they do vaguely, turn off the podcast. You're done. But this is the end. This is the last thing we're talking about. Just turn it off. Masked Singer is really cool. You basically get like an accessory that you equip that lets you emulate other archetypes within that archetype. So like I'll have the Masked Singer archetype and I will give it the healer mask, which lets it access a bunch of the healer's abilities. So it's still the Masked Singer and all the Masked Singer abilities are there, but they get like a healing move and a light spell as well, which is just really cool. It makes them really, really versatile.
And then
Like,
you
going-
take off the mask, and it's T-Pain. Is that how it works?
Heck
Mhm.
yeah.
I believe
Yeah,
it's
you get
technically
it.
the masked dancer class. So that it
You're
doesn't
right.
interact
You're
with
right.
the
Well, it's
Singer
confusing because the character who has it is
a
the
singer.
singer,
Yeah.
not a
Dang.
dancer.
It's true.
My mask singer joke doesn't work anymore. Thanks,
Yeah.
Caleb.
You're welcome. I just wanted to clear that up, you know?
Just ruin everything.
It's worth noting, while that class is like incredibly flexible, also the architect system in general is really, really
Yes.
flexible in that game,
hmm
which is part of what I really, really like about it.
Yes. The other
Because
thing I
any,
like-
any
Sorry, go
class
ahead.
you play, you can pick up like between like I think 1 and 3 abilities from other classes as long as you have unlocked them on that
4
character.
is the max number
4 is the max.
of
Okay.
inherited. Yeah,
I don't know if I've gotten to a 4.
Just missed it.
I'm sure you have. Surely you
Maybe
have.
it's possible. Maybe I just forgotten.
If you max out a social link, you'll get to 4.
Oh, okay. I think I have them. Yeah.
I imagine you have. The other thing that's really cool about it, so you can obviously you spend like this currency to buy archetypes for your characters, right? But if you leave them on an archetype that's maxed out, you just keep gaining experience, and in sets of 1,000, it'll just give you an item that's like, here, this item gives you 1,000 XP for any archetype. It's a usable item, you use it. So literally, I had a character who I was like, I just really like him on Swordsman. He's just really good with a fucking sword. So I just left him on Swordsman, and I probably have like 20 of those fucking items in my backpack for
And
as
you don't
soon
even
as
have
I
to
get
use
an
them
archetype I like.
On them.
No,
You can use them on
You
other
don't
characters.
use it on anyone.
Yeah.
Literally, I have a character who I was like, I don't think I'm going to bring him in combat anymore. I just don't like him very much. So I just left him on an archetype he already has mastered, and he just keeps giving me more XP items. Brilliant. So good.
Man, they still haven't done the thing where they're like, everybody who's not in the party gets the same amount of XP. You still have to unlock that ability
You do have
with
to
their
unlock
social
it.
links, which is so
Hey,
annoying. Get rid of that, please.
Look, man, you did not have to play Persona 4, where that ability doesn't exist.
Not even an
if They're not
option.
if they're not in your party, they're not getting XP, baby.
That's terrible. Don't do that. I
It's-
hate that.
Yeah, it was the worst because it basically meant every time I got a new character in Persona 4, I was like, well, they're like 5 levels behind, which
Yeah.
means they'll always be 5 levels behind. Guess they're not coming.
Can you go grind?
You can grind in
Yeah.
this game pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
it
could
also
do that potentially.
it
Just
has
make
a, nice
a party
system.
of the low-level guys and go grind them.
It's not hard to get the passive XP up.
It also, you unlock that ability pretty fast in everybody's
Yeah.
line. So it's not much of an issue. Just why is it still there? Take it out. Come on. Nobody
I'm
likes
inclined to agree. Just let everyone level up at the same time. Just
Yeah.
because, you end up with characters where it's like, shit, man. They're just perpetually one level behind because whoops, my timing was weird. I don't know. It's annoying.
I
But it's
know
not
none of
too
you
bad.
guys are Persona guys, but man, moving to a fantasy world for the Persona game, that's where it's at. You don't have
That's
to be the high school
stuff.
kids anymore.
Mhm.
It's good.
I'll trust
you can do
you.
a lot of stuff with that.
Yeah.
It just I feel like
That does
I mean,
make me
I've
more
played-
interested in that sort of game, I suppose.
Maybe one day.
You guys don't have to pretend. It's fine.
I am.
But I do think it's nice because, like, having played Persona 3, 4, and 5, you see a lot of very similar characters. Because, like, okay, we want to make a different character, but it has to be a high school student. And that's really limiting, whereas here... I know I talked about this a while ago on the podcast. I feel like you just get a lot more diversity in character types. Like, people can have, like, very dramatic backstories. Like, one character, his entire hometown was destroyed by monsters, and it's like, well, that's not going to work in Persona because they're a high school student living in modern day Japan. So, like, you would have to do something really crazy to pull off that same story, and you don't have to do that here.
Nice. Okay, before we go, or I guess maybe we can go and then talk about it, but we probably need to figure out how the heck we're going to do Game of the Year.
Probably.
Do you want to talk about that on cast, or do we want to talk about that not on cast?
This podcast has already gone on for like 5 years, right?
Wow.
Let the people
I
go.
think
Let the people rest.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll let them go, I
Also,
guess.
Well, let
Jake
the viewers
said,
be
turn it
surprised.
off. There's nothing else
That's
after.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
is true.
warned them. Don't
I don't
make
even
me a
have
liar.
a choice then. You're right. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
All right,
Bye.